Hello, hello, beautiful people. How are you? I hope everyone is doing well. I apologize that I completely spaced the fact that the Crumleys, James and Jennifer, were having their pretrial hearing today. Apparently, I think it's going to be at least an all-day thing. Their pretrial hearing today. Oh, sorry. Apparently, I think it's going to be. Sorry. So I missed this morning covering it. I did watch, and I do have kind of a synopsis of what went down. There were 4 witnesses this morning. The first one was Kira Pennock, who is a friend of Jennifer Crumbley's, owns a horse ranch where Jennifer Crumbley was boarding her horses. Hey, Mandy, how are you, darling? Good to see you. So basically, Crumbley told Pennock, she's 25 years old, of Metamora Horse Farm, and that morning of the 30th, that she'd had a shit day and just had to go to my son's school and meet his counselor. I was alarmed. I thought that was not normal. Pennock testified Tuesday morning during a preliminary examination for Jennifer Crumbley and her husband, James, who are in charge with involuntary manslaughter in the shooting rampage that left 4 students dead and 7 other people injured. All of the violence all over the page. It didn't seem like something a kid would do on a test in school. Later that same day, she'd heard about the shooting after getting a call from another student's mom. She said that her first thought was that it was Ethan. I know they own guns and go out shooting, and that math test with everything written on it made me think it was him. Hey, Squirrel, how are you? Hi, Arctic Fox, welcome. So that was just kind of the synopsis. Jennifer, she said, thanked Pennock for not judging her like the rest of the world. She told Jennifer in response that it sounds like Ethan was a troubled kid and that she didn't blame the mother for his alleged acts. Jennifer then describes her son as a good kid who made a terrible decision. There's some more, conversation between the two. Nothing that's really earth-shattering or crazy. The next person that was called to the stand was Andrew Smith, who was an attorney and the chief operations officer for a real estate company where Jennifer Crumbley worked as a marketing director. He is Jennifer's direct supervisor for about 5 years. And he said he'd gotten a text message from Jennifer that morning informing him that she had to go to her son's school and shared the drawing. Around noon, she'd returned to work and was in the copy room. What is happening? Oh, they're back. They're in court, guys. I will go back to this, I promise. But I want to make sure that we get this. So, share. There we go. And just of note, guys, the prosecution is planning on calling, or at least the witness list is 30 witnesses long. We've only gotten through 4 this morning. So this could be a long haul. Hi, triplet number 3. Glad to have you. Thank you for being here.
You are in the meeting now.
I'm going to be muting in and out, guys, just so that there's not background noise and craziness that y'all hear. One thing that I thought was really interesting this morning, apparently the defense just got a whole bunch of new information and documents, and they had not had a chance to sit down and talk with Jennifer and James about it. And they're in like belly chain cuffs. So the defense asked if they could basically take off the belly chains and leave them cuffed normally so that they were able to write notes back and forth to each other, discussing some of this stuff. And that got shut down with a quickness, guys. They were like, nope, no, they're in, extreme high security, basically, prisoners. And no, they can wear their belly chains. Yeah, Mandy, I'm central too. I wish they'd wait to start the feed until something's actually happening. Like, come on now. Here's our first little Crumbley. Coming jangling in. Oh, that sucks, Limey. Amen. Here comes our other little Crumbley. Jangling some more.
People versus James and Jennifer Crumbley, docket numbers 21006-651 and 21006-652. Next appears is on record, starting with prosecutor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Karen McDonald on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Marquise, on behalf of the people.
Good afternoon, Shannon Smith on behalf of Jennifer Crumbley.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Marital Issues on behalf of James Crumley.
And we ready to proceed with the preliminary examination?
I am, Your Honor. The prosecutor calls Amanda Holland to the stand.
Oh, and y'all, the other funny thing was the judge ordered them not to make hand signals or try to communicate with each other in any way because they did that over the last Zoom appearance.
Ma'am, please raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear any testimony you're going to give will be the penalty of perjury? You, may ask you to scoot up a little bit closer to the microphone. Please keep your voice up. Verbalize all responses to all questions. And if you are comfortable, you can take your mask off and press the line. Okay. You do have the plexiglass around on both sides, so it's totally up to you. Okay. All right, I'm going to ask you to state and spell both your first and last name for the court reporter.
Amanda, Amanda, Holland, Hollland.
I'm sorry, Holl.
And.
Thank you.
Okay, Amanda, just if you try to match the volume of my voice, then you should be fine so everybody can hear you. You're employed at a real estate management company?
Yes.
And what is your title or position there?
Administrative assistant,
Okay, and who are you an assistant to? One person or more than one person?
one person,
And who's that?
Andrew Smith,
Okay, and where is your, do you have an office or a desk?
a desk.
Is it cubicle or just,
I would say a cubicle. Yes.
okay. And do you know Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
Do you know James Crumbley?
No.
And do you see Jennifer Crumbley in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Can you describe something she's wearing for the court?
A striped top.
Okay. May the record reflect that she's properly identified Jennifer Crumbley.
No objection.
So noted.
How close in proximity is your workstation to Jennifer's?
Very close, across the hall.
And was she in an office or a cubicle?
An office.
Okay. And were you and Jennifer and are you and Jennifer friends?
No.
Okay. How would you describe your relationship?
Coworkers, friendly coworkers.
Did you ever socialize with her outside the office?
No.
And did you have opportunities to interact with her on a daily basis?
At work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And would you share personal details about your lives together
On occasion.
to each
yes.
other?
Yes.
Okay. Who did more of the sharing, you or Jennifer?
Jen.
Okay. And did she share with you any personal problems that she was having?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me an example of something? You have to speak up really loud or take your mask off so we can see, but you can keep the mask on. We just need to hear you.
Marital issues.
Okay. And did you know who her husband was? Did she talk about him by name?
Yes.
And who was that?
James.
Okay. And when did that come up?
Occasionally. Maybe,
Approximately what year, what month?
2021. She spoke with him occasionally, just, throughout the time I've known her, but more in detail over 2021.
Okay. And is this something that she would talk to you about because she was upset or in passing?
Both.
All right. And what aside from things that she said to you, were there any other signs that there was a dispute or conflict between James and Jennifer?
Outside of her talking to me about it,
Yes.
there would be loud phone calls occasionally, but that was about it.
I'm sorry, what?
Loud phone calls occasionally, but other than that, no.
Loud phone calls that she would keep the door open?
Sometimes.
And-
Usually it would be shut or almost shut, but you could still hear through the door.
You could still hear the conversation behind a closed door?
Yes.
Okay. What, you said they were having marital issues. What exactly did she tell you?
That both her and James had been seeing other people outside of their marriage.
And was that something she was happy about?
Not at first, but then it didn't seem like it was an issue.
Okay, did she tell you that they were still together?
They had separated for a moment, but then it sounded like they had gotten back together.
And when they separated, do you remember when, about a month or year that was?
It was 2021, but I don't recall the month.
Did they separate households?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. And was there any other indicator to you that there were other relationships going on than just with her husband?
Yes.
What was that?
She had spoken about it to me. There was someone that she had.
Your Honor, are there objectives to relevance this time? Response to relevancy.
Yes, Your Honor. The defendants owed a duty to the community to prevent their son, who they had every reason to believe and saw was a danger. What they did and didn't do, what they spent their time doing, what they exposed their son to is absolutely material and probative under 401 and pursuant to People versus Mills.
Your Honor, there is no duty owed to community members for just every person in public. So I don't believe that's a proper response, but more importantly, there is no duty owed to a community that the prosecutor argues exists.
In terms of the question itself, whether or not there was some type of extramarital relationship between the parties and a duty owed to the community, I don't know that that is intertwined. However, as far as the relevancy goes to the issue of this particular case, I'm overruling the objection. You can go ahead and answer the question.
Yay.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, just one moment. Your Honor, I do just want to, to make a good record, the duty owed here is to protect the community from their son intentionally harming somebody when they knew was preoccupied violent material, that he had access to a gun, he could use it when he wanted to, and he was disturbed. It's a parental duty. It goes far beyond careless. It's gross negligence, and there's absolutely a duty. And I didn't get a chance to tie that together, but I'll move on. What was the indicator to you that there was another relationship going on outside Jennifer Crumbley's marriage?
She spoke to me about it.
Okay. Did you notice anything prior to that?
I didn't notice anything, no.
Okay. What did she say?
She had told me that she had been seeing somebody else.
Did she tell you who that person was?
No.
And did she tell you when she saw that person?
After the fact, one time she did, yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
There was a point where I had noticed that she wasn't there in the morning, and she had mentioned that she had seen a man in the morning during work hours.
What do you mean you noticed she wasn't there? Was it before she was supposed to come into work?
I typically got in after her. I would notice that she had been there, her light was on and everything, but she was not there. And it would be about an hour until I would see her afterwards.
Did you ask her about that, or did she just?
I didn't ask, but she had mentioned, errands at first. And then she had mentioned about a week after that she was seeing somebody else.
And where did she say where she would go during those hours?
She said that this person would pick her up and they would go across the street from our office.
To where?
Costco.
And did she say what they were doing?
Not directly, no.
Okay. And did the what did Jennifer say about, well, first of all, did she talk about her son very often?
No, not very often.
What did she talk about other than her marital issues?
A lot of it was about the horses. She would go there a lot after work, or she would say that she would go there a lot after work. She would talk about she had purchased a new horse just this past year. And then a lot of yard work, a lot of housework.
Okay.
Sorry, so I didn't catch that last part. She wanted
She would talk about a lot of yard work and housework she was doing.
yard work
at
and
home?
housework.
hmm
Did she say whether or not her son was aware of these marital issues?
Not directly, no. He would overhear fights occasionally, but I don't know if they've heard anything else,
Okay.
or he's heard anything.
Do you follow Jennifer Crumbley on social media?
We're friends on Facebook, yes.
Okay. And did you ever see a post about their son and how they bought their son a gun for Christmas, early Christmas present?
I didn't see the post initially, no.
Okay. So you didn't see it prior to November 30th?
No, I saw it on November 30th, but not prior.
Did she ever talk to you about guns?
No.
Okay. Do you have a suspicion about why she didn't mention that if she's mentioning a lot of other things?
Your Honor, I would object to this speculation.
I'll rephrase. Do you know why?
No.
Okay. What you did at some point get an opportunity to look at the post?
Yes.
Okay. And when was that?
The day on November 30th.
Okay. So let's go to November 29th, the day before this terrible event occurred. Did you see Jennifer on November 29th?
Yes.
And was there anything unusual that occurred that day?
She mentioned that she got a message from the school, but she didn't go or do anything, I don't think.
Okay. Did she say what the message was?
No.
Did she seem concerned in any way?
No.
How would you describe her demeanor?
Normal, calm.
Okay. Did she say what she was going to do with regard to that message, or what she was going to do after work at all?
No.
Okay. And did she mention anything about what her son was doing recently around that time?
No.
Okay. Did Jennifer Crumbley ever talk to you about how she described her son?
She would say he's quiet. She didn't go in much detail. I think I would gather that he was quiet and kind of reserved from what she said.
Did she ever mention to you that he was having a difficult time?
Only when his friend had gone away. That was the only time I heard that there may be some trouble with him.
Okay. And did she say specifically what concerned her about his friend going away?
She was concerned he would be lonely, that it was his only main friend, maybe only friend, from what I could tell. She was just concerned that he would be alone, not having him.
Okay. And particularly, did she say when she was concerned that he would be alone?
No, not particularly.
Okay. How often did Jennifer and James Crumbley go to the barn?
Often, I would say maybe almost every day, from what I could gather.
Objections to the foundation for this witness's knowledge about that.
Did Jennifer talk to you about? I'll move on. Did Jennifer talk to you about going to the barn?
Yes,
How often did she talk to you about going to the barn?
almost daily.
All right. So was that in the context of she's just bringing it up, or is she talking about her plans after work?
Both.
Okay.
A lot of the times there were plans after work. She would leave a little earlier than I would, and she would usually say she was going to the barn.
Okay. And you spoke to her daily?
Yes,
Okay. So about how often did she go to the barn?
almost daily.
Okay. And did Ethan go with her?
Not to my knowledge.
Did she ever express a concern about her son not going with her?
No.
Okay.
More concerned about her horses in the barn than her son.
The next day, November 30th, do you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay, what's the first time that you talk to Jennifer, if you remember?
In the morning, I went in, I clocked in, made coffee, and on my way back to my desk, I stopped and said good morning to her, and we talked briefly.
Is that something that you would ordinarily do?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you become aware of a call about her son?
Yes.
And how did you become aware?
She took a phone call and I could hear it.
You could hear, I'm sorry, what?
I could hear her phone call.
Okay. And do you know who she was talking to?
James,
Okay. And what was the subject of the call? What were they talking about?
he had called her, or no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I think I've mixed up the calls. This was later in the day. The first call was from the school,
Okay.
that there was an issue at the school. That's all I could gather from the call.
Okay. What did she do after that?
She called James.
And what did she tell James?
She was asking him if he was able to come to the school to
Okay.
check on the situation.
Did she say how she felt about going to the school?
No,
Okay. Did she say whether she wanted to go or didn't want to go?
no.
Okay. Was she trying to ask James to go instead of her, or they were to come too?
It sounded like she wanted James to go. And then there was another call after that one, and that's when she decided to go as well.
Do you know what changed her mind?
No.
Okay. And at some point, did she leave?
Yes,
Okay. And did she come back to work that day?
yes.
All right. When she came back to work, what did she tell you?
She came over to my desk. She showed me, she said that she felt like a failure as a parent, and she showed me a photo of what Ethan had drawn at school.
Okay. And that was previously admitted. Do you need to see it to describe it, or do you remember the photo?
I remember the photo.
Okay. How would you describe the writings on the worksheet?
Disturbing.
Okay. And what was your response?
I told her I thought that was scary.
I'm sorry, you said what?
I told her I thought it was scary that
Okay.
he would draw that.
And what was her response?
She agreed.
Okay. Did she talk to you at all about what the meeting was about, or what the school wanted her to do?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said that that they were concerned with his drawing, that they were concerned that he may be feeling badly at school and that something could happen. She said that they were requiring him to engage in counseling and that he needed to do that quickly. But that's to the extent.
Did you talk
I'm
about?
sorry, I didn't hear your last part.
That was it. That was all she said.
Okay. What was her demeanor when she's talking to you about this?
My initial thought was it seemed a little sarcastic, the way that she said that she felt like a failure. As she was talking, it was a little concerned.
Okay. Did you have a conversation at some point about whether or not she should go and get her son from school?
I felt I would have brought him home. I
Okay,
told
wait,
her
so
I
hold
thought,
up. Did you have a conversation about that?
yes.
Tell me what did you say?
I said it would be nice for her to take him for a day to, go see a movie or go have lunch or do something with him.
On that day?
Yes, on that day. The day that I said she should have brought him home.
And why did you say that?
I felt it was a disturbing photo, and I thought this child needed to be around family. That's what I would have done, and I told her I thought that's what she should have done.
Okay, what was her response?
She told me that she thought she would just take him to the barn that night and, give him some work and give him a little something to do after school.
And what did you say to that?
I said, if, I think it would be good to have some time with you, just, make him feel seen.
Had you ever been told that he didn't want to go to the barn?
She had mentioned that he didn't like going, but she thought it would be good for him
And
that day.
What did you say?
I just listened. I don't
Okay.
think I said much after that.
All right. At some point, what happened? What was the next thing you can remember on that day?
After that conversation, she went back to her office. I went back to work at my desk. And a little while after, I don't recall the time, she had received a call, and I believe it was from James, that he got an alert from the school about an active shooter. And she started to panic in her office. And I think we all did hearing the call. And that's when she left and ran out quickly.
Okay. Did you said that at one point she told you that she and James separated, but didn't really move out.
Mhm.
And then you said at some point they got back together.
Mhm.
Do you know when that
Yes
was?
or no?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. You have to
Yes.
say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when that was, or how do you know that?
She had mentioned that they were having the issues. They decided to separate temporarily, it seemed. And then around their anniversary, she came back from a trip with him, and she said that they were going to work on it.
And when was that? When was that? In the fall?
I don't recall the
Okay.
time.
And where was the trip?
I don't know the exact location. I know it was a casino, but I don't know which one.
All right. Did she tell you whether or not they took their son along for the weekend to the casino?
No.
No, she didn't tell you, or no, they didn't take him?
No, she didn't tell me.
Okay. Do you know if they took him?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you ever hear Jennifer talk to you or say in passing that she was taking Ethan to the doctor,
No.
to the therapist?
No.
Did she ever talk to you about the horses needing medical treatment?
Yes.
What would she say?
There was I don't remember exactly what was wrong with them, but she had mentioned that there was something going on.
Did that happen once, more than once?
More than once.
Okay. One moment.
Once again, more worried about the horses than her son.
Thank you.
Disgusting.
Hello.
Hi.
I want to go back through some of your testimony and just make sure that I've understood it correctly. So if I say something wrong, can you please let me know?
Yes.
You were the administrative assistant to Andy Smith, is that correct?
Yes.
So you worked in the same office Jennifer Crumbley worked out of?
Yes. The same company. Yes.
I'm sorry, the same?
The same company. Yes.
The same company. And your desk was nearby Miss Crumbley's office.
Yes.
And you and Miss Crumbley, you would not say you were friends with one another, correct?
Yes.
But you talked about little things back and forth when you would see each other.
Yes.
Always friendly conversation.
Yes.
And I imagine over time you talked about a number of different topics, correct?
Yes.
So when you're talking about the topics today, being their marriage and separating and things like that, it's fair to say there were topics discussed, lots of other topics that have not been pinpointed today, correct?
Yes.
There were discussions about camping trips the family took,
Yes.
conversations about James's mother dying,
Yes. I knew. Yeah.
conversations about meals Jennifer was cooking,
No.
conversations about food pictures that were up on Facebook.
I saw one photo.
I guess my point is there were conversations about lots of different topics. It was
Yes.
not like only about Jennifer's marriage did you two speak, correct?
Correct.
And in terms of Jennifer's marriage and what you were told, it's fair to say that Jennifer didn't sit down with you and give you a play-by-play on everything that was happening within her marriage, correct?
Correct.
It's more like you would catch bits of it here and there, correct?
She went into detail about certain issues.
So there's conversations you had where she went into detail, but it's also fair to say there were other times where you would hear her on the phone with James.
Yes.
It's fair to say that other people in the office may have been talking about Jennifer and James.
No.
It's fair to say that although Jennifer did tell you things, this was not like a daily event where you sat down and discussed every intricacy of her marriage, correct?
Correct.
So there was certainly a time where Jennifer and James, your understanding was that they were going to get separated or separated.
Yes,
And there was discussion about Jennifer possibly seeing somebody else at that time.
yes.
You don't know all the details about seeing someone else.
No, not all the details.
And the most you knew is that during work hours, Jennifer would not be at her desk, correct?
That's not all I knew, but yes, I did know that.
You testified that you would notice her light would be on as if she had been at her desk, and then she would be gone from the building, is that correct?
Yes,
And that you were told by Jennifer she was running errands at some point in time?
yes,
And specifically, you were told at some point that she had gone to Costco with another person?
yes,
And anytime that you were aware of her being gone, these times that you're talking about, those were all within the workday, is that correct?
yes,
So you testified that there was a day that Jennifer got a message from the school, is that correct?
yes.
And that message from the school was a voicemail?
I don't know.
Did you hear the message?
No,
Do you know anything about what the message said?
no,
Did Jennifer tell you the contents of the message?
no,
Did Jennifer tell you how she felt about the message?
no.
Do you know anything about the message?
I just know it came from the school.
So you don't know the contents of the message?
No,
So you would have no ability to evaluate how Jennifer was reacting in conjunction with that message, correct?
the message on the 29th? No, I
Yes.
don't know.
Okay. So when you testified that Jennifer did not seem concerned, it's fair to say you don't even know what the message on the 29th was about, correct?
Correct.
And Jennifer expressed to you that a message had been left by the school?
Yes,
And it's fair to say that Jennifer had never told you that at any time before, correct?
like before that day?
Yeah.
No, that was the first message I knew about from the school on the 29th.
Okay, so when she got the message from the 29th and mentioned it to you, that was certainly out of the ordinary, correct?
Yes,
And Jennifer telling you about it appeared she cared that she had gotten the message from the school.
I don't know.
Your understanding of Ethan was that he was a quieter kid, is that correct?
Yes,
And that he had a friend who had moved away suddenly, so he was lonely.
yes,
You were aware that were you aware that he had a difficult time when his grandmother died?
no,
Were you aware of Ethan's extracurricular activities?
no,
Were you aware when Ethan was going to become a referee for the soccer team?
no,
Were you aware of summer classes that Ethan took?
no,
Your knowledge, you never met Ethan in person,
no,
and so really your knowledge about Ethan is very limited from what you heard from his mother, is that correct?
yes,
And Ethan was not something or someone she talked about with you at the office frequently, correct?
correct.
When you testified that Jennifer was at the barn daily, is that your perception of what she was doing, or do you have actual knowledge that she went to the barn every day?
It was almost every day that she would tell me she was going after work.
Almost every day?
Yes,
And so based on the fact that she went to the barn frequently, did you have any other awareness of what she was doing at night or on weekends, things like that?
no,
Through her Facebook page, would you see the camping trips and family trips they took?
occasionally, yes,
Okay, so you were aware that we do not dispute it. Jennifer loves horses, correct?
yes,
And she would post pictures from the horses in the farm.
yes,
pictures of her family camping and on vacation.
Yes,
You testified that you saw the picture of the targets that were shot, that were posted on Facebook, correct?
yes,
On November 30th, you testified that you spoke to Jennifer briefly when she came in, is that right?
yes,
And that you could hear a phone call from James about a school shooter, is that correct?
yes.
Was that the first thing on your radar about something going on at the Oxford High School?
At the school in general or with Ethan?
Either, so at the school in general?
That was the first time with the school, but I did hear the call prior when she was being called to the school.
Okay, but that was the first you were aware that there was
An
a
issue.
shooting or a larger scale incident at Oxford?
Yes.
At what point did you see the photograph of the drawing Ethan made on the math paperwork?
When did I see it first?
Yeah,
When she returned from the meeting at the school.
so that was the day before, correct?
No, I saw the photo on the 30th.
You saw the photo on the 30th?
Yes.
Okay. And, when you testified that you found it to be, disturbing and scary, correct?
Yes.
Jennifer also seemed concerned about that drawing on that math paperwork, correct?
Yes.
She was talking about whether or not he would stay at school or if he was coming home that day, correct?
No.
She ultimately told you that they left him at school that day. You're aware of that, correct?
Yes. She told.
Did you have conversations with Jennifer about why they left him at school?
Yes.
Were you aware that the school told Jennifer he was of no threat to anyone?
Objection, Your Honor, that is not a fact and evidence. Anywhere.
I'm asking if she's aware.
Can you answer the question, number one, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Would you mind repeating it?
Were you aware, did Jennifer say anything that the school told Jennifer he is not a threat to anyone?
No.
Did Jennifer tell you any concerns about Ethan staying home from school versus going because of how the Zoom school year had gone the year before?
No.
Did Jennifer tell you anything about having the option to take him from school or leave him at school?
No.
As you testified that you would have taken him home as your son, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How old are your children?
He's young.
Under 15?
Yes.
How old?
Your Honor, I don't know how this is relevant, and it's clear she's not comfortable answering these questions given the amount of attention the case is getting. So I would just ask, if we could just limit, I don't know why she needs to know the precise age of her child.
Your Honor, she was allowed to give opinions about what a mother would do on direct. I think this is a fair question, background question. I would ask the media not to put this out there. This is not.
She didn't give an opinion about what a mother would do. She gave an opinion about what she would do. So I don't know why we then have to ask her about her personal life. I don't know how the age and number and
Just the
gender.
relevancy as to the age of the child.
The prosecution opened the door as to her giving an opinion about a child, whether they should be taken home from school or not. She testified that as a mother, she would have taken the child home. I'm asking her as a mother how old her child is.
You can ask for a range.
A range?
A
Okay.
range as to how old the
Thank
child
you.
is.
Can we have an age range, please, for your son?
He's a toddler.
Okay, so not anywhere near a teenager.
No.
Not even like a middle schooler, right?
No.
And the day that you saw Jennifer, when you say you would have taken him home, you didn't say to Jennifer, you should have taken him home, correct?
No.
You didn't call the police and say, I just saw a very alarming drawing and this mother did not take her child home from school, correct?
Correct.
You didn't call the school and say, hey, I'm concerned because I just saw this drawing and mother seems to not be worried about it, correct?
Correct.
You, as a matter of fact, you didn't do anything after seeing that drawing with respect to the drawing, correct?
I told her I would have taken my son home. I
That's
told her
all
I
you
think,
did though.
yes,
And now looking at the situation, you have a greater awareness based on hindsight, 20/20 vision, correct?
I'm not, I don't know.
Some of the things that you're testifying about, you would agree with me, you know more information now than you did at the time when you were having conversations with Jennifer Crumbley, correct?
About this case?
Yes.
Yes,
You had no idea a school shooting was gonna take place based on seeing that drawing from that math paper, correct?
correct.
You did not voice to anyone after seeing that drawing on the math paperwork, there could be a school shooting, correct?
I think the gun was alarming. I think that if I thought about it now, I think that, correct. I don't think I would know that.
So you would agree with me that you look at things differently in hindsight, when you look back? you
Yes,
look at
when I
things
look back at it,
differently,
yes.
correct?
Yes,
When Jennifer did talk to you on the day of the school shooting, she said that the school wanted Ethan in counseling, correct?
yes.
She did not tell you she wasn't gonna get him in counseling, correct?
We didn't discuss it further.
She didn't say anything to indicate to you then that she wasn't going to follow the school's counseling idea, correct?
Correct.
She said to you that she felt like a failure. Is that a fair statement?
Yes,
And we can agree that Jennifer can have a sarcastic personality at times.
yes,
And when she said something like, I feel like such a failure, it's possible that some of that was sarcasm, correct?
yes,
Jennifer did say that night she was going to take Ethan to the barn with her, correct?
yes.
She did say she did not want him to be alone, correct?
No,
I'm sorry?
no,
Did she say anything about him being alone?
no, not that day.
Did she talk to you about who he would have been with had he left school that day?
No,
As far as you knew it, Jennifer's plan after work that day was to get Ethan and take him to the barn, correct?
yes,
And Jennifer said she was doing that whether or not Ethan wanted to, correct?
yes.
She was concerned about being with Ethan after school.
I don't know.
She was planning to be with Ethan after school.
Yes,
When the alert came, was panicking.
yes,
And you testified that she ran out of the school quickly.
yes,
And she appeared upset as she was running out of the building and leaving, is that correct?
yes,
And I imagine that everyone in your office was nervous and anxious about what was unfolding, is that correct?
yes,
And it was something that all of you were talking about, especially because Jennifer was running out the door and her son went to that high school, is that correct?
yes.
It's also fair to say that after Jennifer did leave that day, you sent her a message, is that correct?
Yes,
And your message was intended to be kind
yes,
and intended to be supportive,
yes,
and you pretty much said something along the lines of thinking of you guys, correct?
yes,
And also that you hope her and her family were doing all right.
yes,
That was before you knew exactly what had unfolded, correct?
correct.
I have no further questions.
Any questions on behalf of James Crumble? None for Mr. Crumble, Your Honor. Any redraw?
Yes. Okay, Jennifer Crumbley told you she was having an extramarital affair, correct?
Yes.
And it was a romantic relationship, correct?
Yes.
And you asked her, or she told you, she saw this person during work hours in the parking lot of Costco in the car, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Defense counsel just asked you a lot of questions about what you knew and what you didn't know, and if you would have been alarmed, if you would have called the police, if you would what you would have done. Did you know that they bought their son a gun and gave him access to it?
No.
Did you know? Did you know? I'll move on. Did you know that the gun?
It's an improper question, and the prosecutor repeatedly keeps asking questions that are designed to inflame the public and make everyone believe there was access to the gun that has not been testified to. It's not true. And these questions are by design to try to have these people convicted in the media. That question is improper. It's also assuming facts not in evidence, and facts that will never be in evidence.
Your Honor, and if you recall, we objected previously with another witness and you sustained the objection using almost identical language.
I've asked those questions, Your Honor.
Refrain from the asking the question relative to access. I've already sustained the objection.
Okay.
Did you know that the gun in the Crumbley's possession was identical to the drawing that their son made on the math worksheet?
No.
Did you know that the day before, Jennifer Crumbley texted her son, LOL, just you have to learn not to get caught, when he was in trouble for searching ammunition?
No.
Did you know that James Crumbley, upon hearing there was a school shooting, went to the house to look for the gun?
No.
Okay. Did you know he called 911 then and said that I think my son is the school shooter?
No.
Okay. Did you know how many hours and hours that Ethan Crumbley, the shooter, spent at his house by himself?
Objection. Again, question with no foundation, with absolutely no foundation of how this witness was known.
Your Honor, I'll move on, but there was a lot of requested for her to speculate in the cross-examination. My point is, there was a lot you didn't know, correct?
Correct.
But just what you knew, not as his parent, not what he did, not any of the other things, you were alarmed and concerned when you saw that worksheet, correct?
Yes.
Nothing further.
You may sit down. You may sit down. Okay. Call your next witness.
Y'all, this prosecutor, playing.
Edward Wagrowski.
Your Honor, may this witness be excused?
Any objection?
No objection.
Not for Mr. Crumbley, Your Honor. Any prosecutor?
He's gonna be a long one.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. And it'll be 1 minute, we're just taking a quick break.
All right, guys, while they're taking that quick break, I'm going to go back through some of this other, the rest of the testimony from this morning. So like I was saying earlier, gosh, that's distracting. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. That's better. Okay. I'm leaving. The feed doesn't go down, guys. So can y'all hear me okay, by the way? The feed doesn't go down. So I'm leaving it up. I just had to turn the volume down so that I know when they come back, because they said it was just going to be a brief break. But like I said, the first witness this morning was the horse ranch owner. The second was Jennifer Crumbley's boss, who was an attorney. He was her boss for about 5 years. she texted him saying that that she had to go to the school, and shared the drawing that the school shared with her. Around noon, he testified she'd returned to work and was in the copy room. She mentioned to Andrew Smith that her son needed counseling and said, I think she said she felt like she was failing him or a failure. He later heard her screaming down the hallway that there was an active shooter at Ethan's school. She left and texted Smith just before 1:30 p.m. to inform him the gun is gone and so are the bullets. She said, oh my God, Andy, he's going to kill himself. He must be the shooter. Ethan did it. Jennifer added in another text, I need my job. Please don't judge me for what my son did. Now, let me ask y'all, in all seriousness, who is worried about their job when their son was a shooter, still had a gun, didn't know what was going on yet, and you're worried about your job, right? You're worried about your job. Okay. And he said, I thought she would be more concerned about what was going on, he told the court. The next witness was Kathy Poliquin. I'm hoping that I'm not slaughtering that. Slinky Moon, I couldn't agree more. I could not. Hold on. I can't. Hey, boomer. I couldn't agree more. They were definitely, in my opinion, negligent. You know, they missed all of the signs. But Kathy Poliquin is the human resources manager for the company. She said Jennifer had been hysterical and that when Crumbley had referenced the gun, she was speaking of one recently posted on social media. When we'd originally seen the post of Crumbley purchasing the gun for her son, Poliquin said she thought it was not really appropriate. It's something I would not have done with my child, she says. She also noted that she too had seen the screenshot from Crumbley that Andrew Smith had pulled up on his phone of the drawings on Ethan Crumbley's math homework. My first thought was, this boy needs help, she said. Let's see, bear with me here. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald asked whether Jennifer Crumbley had referred to her son as weird. She said yes. And that was really the crux of this morning's testimony. So, like I said, it wasn't a whole lot, but it is definitely painting a picture of parents that are very, how do I put this, self-absorbed. Okay, Limey, love you. I agree, Slinky. I mean, they're painting a picture of people that are very self-absorbed, that don't pay much attention to this kid. Other than to go and take him shooting, apparently. And don't get me wrong, guys. I have a house full of firearms. I also have children. But all of our firearms are locked up in a biometric safe, which requires either my or my husband's handprint to open, not a fingerprint, the entire hand. We let our children shoot, we hunt, we do all of that. We also have made sure that both of our children have gone through gun safety training, the whole 9 yards. So, although, even though it's neglect, it's careless on top of that. Like they just didn't care that this kid had access to this and was troubled and everything else. It was a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. You know, being that we're big on Second Amendment rights here in my home, this case makes me so angry, I cannot even see straight. I cannot even see straight how angry this case makes me. Because this could have been prevented so easily, guys. So easily. You know, I'm angry at the school too. The school failed this kid. Yeah, they called his parents, but if they're, as a student at a school, they have the right to search your backpack. They have the right to do whatever if they're truly concerned, and they just didn't. They didn't do it. And with these warning signs and everything else, I do not understand that in the slightest. It makes me crazy. It makes me absolutely crazy. Yes, exactly, Slinky Moon. It's lazy. It's negligent. It is, in my opinion, is disgusting on all levels. And, you know, Mandy BS was so kind and found me records of the actual court documents for the civil suit that has now been filed with the court in connection to this case. Guys, and I'm going through it now. It's a lengthy document. So I want to make sure that I cover it properly. I'm going through it right now, but some of this information that's coming out now is truly disturbing. It's, You know, I don't want to go into details until I go through a whole lot of it. Well, all of it in its entirety. But like I said, it's a lot. And even though I work in the legal field, legalese can be cumbersome to go through. So I want to make sure that I don't miss anything while I do. But what are you guys thinking? I mean, who do you think is most responsible for this other than Ethan? Because I am going to say this. At the end of the day, I get that the kid was disturbed. I get that the kid had issues. The kid made a choice. Oh, here we go. Hold on.
People call Detective Edward Wagrowski.
There we go.
Do you solemnly swear in testimony you're going to give the truth and the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a seat, please. And if you could state and spell what your first and last name for the record.
My name is Edward Wagrowski. Last name Wagrowski.
May I proceed, Judge?
Go ahead.
Sir, how are you employed?
With the Oakland County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been a member of the Oakland County Sheriff's Office?
25 years.
Okay. And what's your current assignment?
I work in the computer crimes unit,
How long have you been in the computer crimes unit?
7 years.
Prior to working in the computer crimes unit, what were some of your previous assignments?
I worked dispatch, assigned to corrections, road patrol.
Okay. Sir, if you could please tell us what a detective in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office computer crimes unit does.
We examine cell phones, computers, do forensic examinations, DVR systems.
Now, in your 25 years of experience with the Sheriff's Office, have you had the opportunity to participate in any specific trainings with regards to forensic analysis of computers and cell phones.
Yes, sir, extensive.
Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
The main one that we attend is an international certification, IASIS, and you have to renew that every year. There's a 7-month testing process for that. Celebrate is some of the software we use. There's training for that I've been to, a certified user for that. Axiom software.
No, sir, I imagine that in this particular field, technology is always changing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, would it be fair to say then that your training is also ongoing?
Every year, yes.
And so you provide us with your CV. By my count, you have 38 trainings specific to cell phone analysis. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And every time you've had to actually take a test to receive a certification, have you passed?
Yes, sir.
In your 7 years working with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Computer Crimes Unit, have you had the opportunity to conduct data extractions on cell phones?
Yes, sir.
Is this something you do on a regular basis?
Almost every day.
Could you put a number on how many times you've actually done a data extraction on a cell phone?
Well over 500 times.
Tell us how the process, how that works.
So a phone's brought in by a detective in charge of a case. They bring it in. We hook it up. There's software that we have, a device, the UFED Touch, which is made by Celebrate. Hook it up to that device. It extracts the data off of it. Then we use software, UFED Physical Analyzer, usually to examine the data that was obtained from the device.
Now, this is Celebrate. This is software, correct?
Celebrate is a company.
It's a company, okay?
UFED Physical Analyzer software.
Okay. And after you review the data on the UFED Physical Analyzer, are you able to export it in a readable format?
Yes, sir.
Is that typically done in PDF form?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Have you ever been qualified as an expert witness before?
Yes, sir.
In which courts?
6th Circuit Court, 43rd District Court in Ferndale, and 52-2.
So 6th Circuit Court, that is the entire Oakland County Circuit Court, am I right?
Yes, sir.
So was it more than one judge even qualified as an expert?
Yes, sir.
All right. In what field even qualified as an expert?
Cell phone forensics, computer forensics, and call detail record mapping.
Judge, at this point, I move to qualify this witness as an expert in the field of cell phone forensics under MRA 703.
Any objection?
You have no objection. I do just want to make one thing clear. We were told that the mapping
Right.
would not be testified to, and that's some of the information we didn't receive. I just want to make sure we're on track with that.
No, that's correct, Judge. We're not going to explore the call detail record mapping at this preliminary examination. He was just testifying that in his experience, he's done that before.
The court will go ahead and qualify him as an expert witness. No objection for Mr. Crumbley either, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. Sir, I would like to direct your attention to November the 30th, 2021. Do you remember that day?
Yes, sir.
Were you working?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you made aware of a school shooting at Oxford High School?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you did, please.
I got prepared. I was notified by our captain that there was a shooting in Oxford and everybody had to go. And I got equipment that you would need to deal with a situation like that.
What sort of equipment?
Body armor, duty rifle, stuff like that.
So this is you, a detective in computer crimes. You were still obtaining that sort of gear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Everybody has that.
Did you actually go to the high school?
At first, I went to the Myers, and then I went to the high school.
And there's a Meyer adjacent to the high school, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why did you go to the Meyer?
There was a lot of radio traffic. Then I could hear staging area and garden center for the Meyer and stuff like that. So when I got up there, I wasn't entirely familiar with the area. I'm not from that area. So I saw the Meyer and that's where I went first.
Okay. At some point while you were on scene at the Meyer, were you requested to report to the Oxford High School offices?
Yes, sir.
And did you do so?
Yes, sir.
And what was the purpose for you being tasked there?
To help get the DVR, the video footage of the school.
Did somebody from the school assist you with that?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Jim Rourke.
Okay. And what is his role there, if you know?
He's part of their security, private security.
So in your role as a detective with the computer crimes unit, you were asked to obtain and review the footage. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Did you actually review the footage of the shooting from November the 30th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you also requested to review footage from other parts of that day?
Yes, sir.
In fact, did you eventually obtain the entire server from the school?
Yes, sir.
Now, as a member of the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Computer Crimes Unit, do you work hand in hand with other detectives from that unit?
All the time.
Okay. So this is probably especially true in a case such as this.
Absolutely.
Now, in this case, were cell phones seized from James, Jennifer, and Ethan Crumble?
Yes, they were.
Okay. And those were seized pursuant search warrant?
Yes, sir.
Now, in addition to the Oxford High School surveillance system, did you also obtain surveillance footage from accurate firearms.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did you do with that?
Because the way the video system is, it's broken up into 16 different cameras. So I was able to take clips of the day that were of interest and stream them all together.
Okay. Now, during the course of this investigation, did you become aware that James Crumbley was employed as a DoorDash driver?
Yes, sir.
And was a search warrant executed on the company DoorDash to obtain records from that company?
Yes, sir.
Did you review those as well?
Yes, sir.
Was information obtained from social media outlets through search warrant as well?
Yes, sir.
Does that include Instagram and Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Now, sir, is it true that even if another detective actually authors the search warrant, when the information is received, it's a detective like yourself from computer crimes that actually goes through that information?
Yes, sir.
In this case, did you have the opportunity to review the data extractions from James Crumbley's cell phone, Jennifer Crumbley's cell phone, and Ethan Crumbley's cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Did you use the Celebrate program that we talked about?
You've hit physical analyzer, yes.
Now, is it fair to say that your average cell phone nowadays has quite a bit of data on it?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. So it takes some time to review that data and export it?
Absolutely.
Now, tell us, detective, if someone were to actually deactivate their social media accounts, would you as an investigator still hope to obtain that information from the device itself?
Yes, sir.
And tell me why.
You would, it would still be on the device, even though they deactivated the account. There's databases that the information stored in that we're able to look at those and then see the text or the conversation that was going back and forth in those databases.
Okay. Now, what if someone were to delete their account?
That's different, because then you're telling the phone that it's not of interest to you anymore, and the phone, depending on the operating system, will just say to save room or to make room, we're going to get rid of it.
Now, could you, as an investigator in this field, still hope to obtain that data somehow?
Sometimes, yes, sir.
And tell me how.
Well, the devices or the software we use actually does what's called carving for data, and it looks deeper into the information that was obtained and try to extract those databases. Even though they're broken up, we could sometimes put them back together.
Okay. Now, if you were concerned that someone were going to delete their actual, let's say, Facebook or Instagram accounts, how would you as an investigator try to prevent all that data from being purged?
You would serve a preservation letter.
What's that?
It gives an investigator 90 days to get a search warrant, and it's served on the company, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, whatever. And it just tells them this account, don't do anything with it. Even if the user says, I don't want it anymore, just save it as it is right now.
And were preservation letters sent in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
Now, in addition to the data extractions from the cell phones themselves, did you have the opportunity to review search warrant returns from Ethan Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
What about Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
James Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
Jennifer Crumbley's Facebook account?
Yes, sir.
And James Crumbley's DoorDash account?
Yes, sir.
And also James Crumbley's Facebook account?
Yes, sir.
When the Crumbleys were interviewed, did they give the police their phone numbers?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then did the police also become known of Ethan Crumbley's phone number?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. So what I'm asking you is, when you have a cell phone, it's given to you, you don't know whose it is right away. Am I correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, is there a way for you, when you review the data extraction, to tie in the cell phone device to the owner of the cell phone device?
Yes, sir.
And how is that?
Well, usually the evidence bag that it comes in is marked as whose ever phone it was, but it's also verified by when we extract the data from the phone number is saved in the phone, usually on the SIM card, and it's just able to read the phone number. So when we have someone's phone number, they tell us what it is. We compare it to the phone number that was obtained from the device, and we can put the two together.
Okay. So is this called user accounts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was this information available on the data extractions of Ethan Crumbley's cell phone?
Yes, sir.
And also the defendants, James and Jennifer Crumbley's cell phones?
Correct.
Okay. All told, how many devices were recovered from Jennifer Crumbley?
Jennifer Crumley, there were 4 total cell phones that were recovered.
And tell me how that happened.
The first one, there was a search warrant served on their house shortly after the shooting, and their phones were seized then. Then we discovered through the investigation that they went and purchased the exact same cell phones, and then also 2 track phones.
Okay, what's a track phone?
We refer to it as a burner phone. Like, it's a prepaid phone that you can get from Walmart or Meijer.
Okay, and how many phones were seized from James Crumble?
3.
When we say 3, we're talking about the original, the same phone that you just referred to, and then the track phone?
Yes, sir.
And what about Ethan Crumbley?
Just one.
Now, throughout the course of this record examination, I am going to be referring only to their original cell phones, the phones that were seized in the date of the search warrant, unless I specifically say otherwise. So we're clear.
Okay, yes, sir.
Now, as part of your data extraction from Jennifer Crumbley's cell phone, did you review audio recordings?
Yes, sir.
Do you have occasion to identify an audio recording that was saved as a voicemail on November the 29th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
Judge, this is People's Proposed Exhibit 9. I believe we have a stipulation tonight. This is a voicemail on November 29th.
We do, Your Honor, we just would ask that the entire voicemail be played.
Certainly.
There's a stipulation as to both attorneys. Correct, Your Honor.
And this is 9.
Based upon the stipulation, the court will go ahead and admit the recording into evidence.
Thank you.
Ooh, this will be interesting.
I'm calling from Oxford High School, and I'm here with Mr. Hopkins, who's Ethan's counselor. I was just calling to let you know that we just spoke with Ethan, had a really nice conversation. One of his teachers had sent an email to the office that she was concerned because Ethan, when she was walking around the room checking assignments, that he was on his phone looking at bullets and that sort of thing. So she just wanted us to have a conversation. We did. He said he had been to the shooting range with you this weekend, and we were like, yep, guns are a hobby for a lot of people and shooting ranges, and that's perfectly normal. And that we just wanted to make sure I had a conversation with him about the things he searches at school and things versus searching at home. Like Mr. Hopkins gave a good example of like if a teacher makes beer at home, perfectly normal and healthy, but can't be using searches for making beer at school. So we had that conversation. He was great. He was like, yep, I get it. So I just wanted to let you know that we did have that conversation with him, and I don't know, about 5 minutes, and he went back to class. All right, if you have any questions, you can give me a call at 248-572-9565. 248-572-9565. Otherwise, I hope you have a great holiday. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Detective, that was a 1 minute and 25-second audio recording. That was the complete recording from the phone, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you testified that you reviewed the data extractions on both Ethan and Jennifer Crumbley's phone. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to review a text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbley found on Jennifer Crumbley's phone?
Yes, sir.
And did you export that to a PDF?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you review a data extraction on Celebrate, you were able to put it in a searchable format?
Yes.
Okay, tell me how that works, please.
There's within the different tabs, either whether it's a text message or call logs or whatever, there's a search field, and you can just type in whether it's a phone number, a name, a keyword, or whatever, put it in there, and it just narrows down the search of the information of what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you. Now, sir, this entire text thread is 293 pages with about 1,150 messages. Is that right?
Sounds about right. Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Robert, I'm sorry, can the prosecutor repeat that and slow down? I can't hear him.
Yeah, if you could.
Sorry, which judge?
Slow down a little bit.
Sure.
And then we can hear the full question.
okay, absolutely. The actual printout of the text thread between Ethan and Jennifer Crumbley is 293 pages in total. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Judge, this is proposed Exhibit 10. I do not believe we have an objection. This is pages 286 to 291. For the record, we do have a thumb drive for the court as well as defense counsel with the entire exported text thread. But this exhibit is pages 286 to 291.
So the exhibit itself is a portion of.
Correct,
the thumb
Judge.
drive? Okay. Any objections to the admissibility of exhibit 10?
Actually, yes, the exhibit that was given to me actually goes through page 293,
Right.
but you said.
293. That's right.
Okay,
286 to 293 is what I have.
okay. no,
Correct. Oh, you're right. I said 291. I'm sorry, Judge. It should be 293.
He said it 2 pages shorter, so I just want to make sure we go all the way through 293.
We're correct. We're right. Yeah.
All right, so for purposes of admissibility for those documents, any objections, that being pages 286 through 293 of the text messages?
No, Your Honor.
None for Mr. Crumley, Your Honor. Right, those will be admitted.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Sir, I'm handing you these pages that is referred to as People's Proposed 10, omitted 10 now. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize that?
It's an export in a PDF format from a text thread.
I'm going to publish on the screen. Now, at the top, the top right is a green text bubble. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this is on page 286 that I've identified. And what does it say at the top there?
The sentence,
Well, first of all, does it identify owner?
it doesn't identify the owner. It says who it's to.
Okay, but this was taken off of Jennifer Crumbley's phone. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and who does it say it's to?
Ethan.
Okay, is that the phone number provided for Ethan Crumbley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this message was sent to Ethan Crumbley from Jennifer Crumbley, according to your analysis.
Correct.
All right, and what's the first message?
Seriously, question mark, question mark. Looking up bullets in school, question mark, question mark.
And what time and date was that sent?
That's on the 29th of November, 2021 at 11:53 a.m.
And what was the response?
He responded almost immediately after by saying, "What?"
Okay, was there a second and third response?
Yep. He responded saying, "Oh yeah, I already went to the office for that."
And then this is page 287, the top. This is the blue text bubble. What does this say?
It was in first hour. All I did was look up a certain caliber at the end of class because I was curious.
And what time is that sent?
That's at 11:54.
Okay. Next text, please.
He's saying it was on my phone. Completely harmless. Teachers just have no privacy.
And the first text from Ethan Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley on the following page.
They said I'm all good. I understand why they talked to me, and they said that am good.
Okay, and you're reading this exactly how it's
Exactly.
on this page. Okay.
Yes, sir.
In the follow-up text.
This is nothing I should get in trouble about.
Okay, and what time is that sent?
That was at 11:55.
Also on November the 29th of 2021?
Yes, sir.
All right. And was there a response there from Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
What is that?
She responded with, "You're not." They left me a voicemail. And then there's emojis after it with hand over face emoji.
And what time and date was that?
At 12:13 and 11:29.
Now, sir, what does this text here, the green bubble sent from Jennifer Crumbley to Ethan Crumbley, say?
On the next page?
Yes, sir.
It says, "Did you at least show them a pic of your new gun?"
And what time did she write that?
At 12:14 p.m.
On November 29th as well?
Yes, sir.
And what was his response?
"No, I didn't show them the pic, my God.
And the next?
I only told them I went to the range with you on Saturday. It was a harmless act."
Okay. Now we're on page 290, the first text from Ethan Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley.
I had this bullet cartridge in my room that I didn't, what kind of bullet it was. And it said it was a 22. So at the end of first hour, I just looked up different types of 22 bullets. And I guess the teachers can't get their eyes off my screen, SMH.
What does SMH mean?
Generally means shake my head.
Okay. And what was Jennifer Crumbley's response to that?
LOL, I'm not mad. You have to learn not to get caught.
Okay. Are there periods in between some of these words?
Yes, in between I'm not in the beginning of the sentence, and then in between the three words of not get caught.
And what time did she write, you have to learn not to get caught?
That was at 12:31.
On November the 29th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And his response to that?
IKLOL.
And was there a follow-up response?
He had appears to be laughing emojis.
And on page 291.
I just didn't want something this little to get me in trouble because, well, I didn't want to get in trouble, LOL.
And did he have another text on that day?
He stated, I want to hear the voicemail when I get home, though.
And the next?
Also, I never tried to hide me looking up the bullet. I just didn't think a teacher would be staring at my phone.
Did she respond to that?
She did. Jennifer responded, okay, I saved it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but those are the text messages from November the 29th. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. We'll come back to this exhibit in a little bit. May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes.
Do you want all of them?
Hang on to the last page. Okay. Detective, you told us that you've had the opportunity to review data received from Instagram. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that include Ethan, Jennifer, and James accounts?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know what Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram username was?
It was identified as Gen C 78, JEHN C 78.
Okay. And were you able to find that on the device as well?
Yes, sir.
When you're able to locate that information on the device, are you able to export that to a PDF?
Yes, sir.
May I approach? This is People's Proposal 11. Sir, what is that I just handed you?
It's a PDF report from UFID Physical Analyzer software.
And what does it say in there?
It is user accounts is the report itself, and it's the username of Gen C, JEHNC 78
Okay.
for Instagram.
And so that's how you're able to verify what Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram username was.
Yes, sir.
Okay, people move to number 11.
Any objection?
No objection.
And for Mr. Crumble, be admitted.
Thank you. I'm just going to publish this, Judge, for the court. All right, so this is the page that I've handed you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So under user account, we talked about user accounts earlier. So under user accounts here, we have a username,
Yes, sir.
and this is where we have JEHNC78. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Were you able to determine if James Crumbley had an Instagram account as well?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what his username was?
His name, James Crumbley 54321.
All right. Did you do the same process with the user accounts on James Crumbley's actual device to verify that?
Yes, sir.
May I approach that?
Yes.
This is People's Proposed 12. Sir, what am I handing you?
That's a PDF report from Physical Analyzer software.
Did you obtain that in the same method that you obtained the information for Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
Okay, people move to admit number 12.
Any objection? None for Mr. Crumble.
I'm going to publish this.
Any objection from Jennifer Crumble?
No objection, thank you.
They'll be admitted.
And sir, on the screen here, this appears to be the same type of PDF, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but this is from James Crumbley, and we know that from this user account information.
Yes, sir.
And his username of James Crumbley 54321, which you've identified earlier.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, referring first to the Instagram returns for Ethan Crumbley, how many known Instagram accounts did Ethan Crumbley have?
I'm sorry, for
Ethan Crumbley, yes.
3.
Okay, do you recall the names of those?
One was Daddy Vader. The other one was Ethan.Crumbley, period. And then Ethan_Crumbley.
I want to talk to you just right now about the Ethan.Crumbley accounts. Were pictures and first of all, did you receive information from Instagram on that account?
Yes, sir.
And did you have the opportunity to review that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Were pictures and posts made on that account?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to show you, this is People's Proposed 13. Yeah, approach that.
Yes.
This is 13, Council. Sir, what have I just handed you?
Search warrant return from Instagram.
Okay, is that for the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Yes, sir.
And that exhibit, proposed exhibit, has a number of pages, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that the information that you actually received and reviewed from the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. People move to admit.
Any objection on behalf of Jennifer Crumble?
Your Honor, there's no objection to the photo part of it being admitted, but there's some text afterwards that I don't think is relevant. I suppose I can ask the witness about it on cross-examination. It's not.
Well, I can just,
Just for clarification and for reference, according to my documents, exhibit 13 is several pages, correct?
yes, Judge.
How many pages do you know?
17.
17 pages. Do you have all 17 pages?
17 pages.
It is 17 total. Well, the last page is blank.
I do have
17
17 pages. If I could just ask the prosecutor very quickly. Okay, I have no objection, thank you.
Okay, any objection on behalf of James Crumble? None for Mr. Crumble. Okay, exhibit 13 will be admitted.
Thank you. Going to publish.
And just for clarification, this is for just the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Ethan.Crumbley. Yes, Judge, that's it. Now, are you able to tell when you look at the Instagram return what time something is posted, date and time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this first, on page 1 here, we have an image. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This image appears to be a target with holes in it.
Correct.
All right. I want to make sure I'm looking at the same one. We have a taken date and time. Do you
Correct.
see that as well?
Yes, sir.
What is the taken date and time?
Taken date and time is 11/27/2021 at 19:02 UTC.
And when you see UTC without a minus next to it, what does that mean?
It just, that's the time at Greenwich Mean Time where all time starts. And depending on how far you are away from Greenwich Mean Time, you lose an hour or gain an hour. And currently we're at -5
Okay. So was this picture actually posted at 1900 hours or a different time?
at a different time, sir.
And what time is that?
14:02.
Okay. So it'd be 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes, sir. Sorry. Yes, sir. 2 p.m.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, you said it was posted at 14:02,
Yes, ma'am.
taken at 19:02.
No, ma'am. No, it's taken. It was actually taken, but not the software. Instagram logs all their stuff at UTC time. So at UTC it was it's 7:02 or 19:02, but since we're at -5 right now, it's 14:02 is actually when it was taken and posted.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, Detective, was there text associated with this photograph as well?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not going to ask you about the other comments that have been posted after November the 27th, just the comments posted by the user of the account. So page 2, at the top, we have a text area.
Yes, sir.
And what does that say?
It's took my new SIG out to the range today. Definitely need to get used to the new sites. LOL.
Okay, now that was posted by the user, and we've identified that as Ethan Crumbley. Is that right?
Correct.
I'm going to scroll through to the next photograph. This is on the 3rd page of what I've handed you. Is there this photograph of a firearm? Are we looking at the same page?
Yes, sir.
All right. And does it have a date and time taken?
Yes, sir.
And what date is that?
Taken 11/26/2021 at 18:06 UTC or 3:06.
Okay, so the target was taken on November 27th, but the picture of this firearm was taken November the 26th.
Correct.
All right. And do we have a text associated with the user of this account?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
Just got my new beauty today with hard eyes emoji. Sig Sauer 9mm. Ask any questions, I will answer.
Okay. Now to the following page, we have another photograph. This is also a firearm.
Yes, sir.
All right. And what is the date and time on this?
Date and time 11/26/2021 at 18:06 UTC or 3:06
Okay.
in Michigan.
And that was about the same time the other photograph was posted as well, right?
Correct.
All right. And we have a text box with the user, and it's the same text. Just got my new beauty today with the heart eyes emoji.
Correct.
On the following page, page 5 here, what are we looking at?
Picture of someone holding a handgun pointed towards the floor.
And this was do we have a date and time when this was taken and posted?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
11/26/2021 at 18:06 UTC or 3:06 in Michigan.
Okay. And again, the same text. Just got my new beauty today with the heart eyes emoji.
Correct.
Okay. So when we have the same date and time with multiple photographs like we have here, is it fair to assume that it's a one Instagram post with multiple photographs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have a chance to review some of the other photographs found on this account.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to scroll briefly through these. This is page 6. Page 7. You found that one as well?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, Mark, can you give me another one, please?
Now, Detective, we know for sure that the firearms were posted by the user, Ethan Crumbley. What about these other photographs? Were they posted by Ethan Crumbley, or were they just shared on his account?
Okay, first of all, let's identify what photographs you're talking about.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate that. We're starting with what's on page 6 with the photograph that's being published right now.
The question is whether it's shared versus posted by. Ethan
Correct.
Crumbley.
It would be, looking at this, looks like they were posted by Ethan.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move back down to, we have page 7. I think we've already viewed this one. Page 8 is where we stopped. Page 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and the last one is all black appears.
Your Honor, at this point, I stipulate to pages 1 through 5 coming in as pages account. It's very clear that 6 through 17 are other usernames throughout the pictures.
We can have the detective verify, Judge. And if you don't mind, as far as further response, Judge, our next exhibit is a contact page in both James and Jennifer's devices that show they followed the Ethan.Crumbley account. It's relevant that way as well.
But as it relates to the pages of the photographs, that's being pages 6 through 16, please clarify with the witness who actually posted those photographs.
Again, Judge, I don't mind clarifying with the detective. However, our position is that, as we will show in just a minute by an offer of proof. Correct.
Go ahead and see the photograph.
Thank you, Judge.
Just by virtue of the information that's provided on the exhibit. Okay. If you can, you can, you can, you can. I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you look at page 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Photograph,
Yes, ma'am.
and if you look at the text underneath the photograph, it has 2 usernames there.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell the court what the significance is of those usernames on that particular page?
Those appear to be, they commented on the picture. One says, the text says TF, the other one text says, so true.
Okay, thank you.
Are you able to tell based upon this exhibit, detective?
Based on this example, I'm looking at the upload IDs. Give me 1 second. So the IP address that was used to upload the photos of the firearm that had text that we know Ethan made is different, but yet a little similar. Without double checking, being able to check the IP addresses of all the uploads, I couldn't tell you right now for certain.
Okay.
But the fact that the one has comments after it would lead me to believe that that was posted by Ethan.
Okay. Now let me ask you this.
On page 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we can explore this more in cross-examination, but these are very different circumstances. This has usernames listed that are not Ethan Crumbley's. So we object again to pages 6 through 17 coming
Do
in.
you want one here?
I will have your,
Okay, go ahead, and I'll let you go. It's my turn.
okay, detective, on pages 1 through 5, where photos are, we're talking about the picture of the target, and then there's a picture of a gun in a case, and a picture of Ethan holding a gun presumably, and then a picture of Ethan pointing a gun down. Those 5 pages, after each of those pictures, you can see that it says comments user Ethan.Crumbley, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on page 6, there's a different photograph of like this ghost face. And in the same spot where it says Ethan.Crumbley, it says user Augusto Ferrari 0227.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Augusto Ferrari is, and there is nothing on here showing Ethan.Crumbley's name, correct?
On page 6, ma'am?
Yes.
Correct.
But on pages 1 through 5, Ethan.Crumbley is on all of those photographs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the photograph with the white face, the second page that looks like it's kind of that same white face, page 7 of 17, again, nowhere on there does that say Ethan.Crumbley.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And the following page, where 8 of 17, again, it does not say Ethan.Crumbley anywhere.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Same thing on page 9 out of 17.
Judge, if I may, this might help
15.
shorten this a little bit. I'm not offering those photographs to show that Ethan Crumbley took the photograph. They're offered because they're on his Instagram account.
Right, and that's what he needs to clarify. So as it relates to those photographs where Ethan Crumble is not listed, how can you identify whether or not it was that Ethan Crumble's account?
Because the search, that was the information that was given to us by Instagram from the search warrant that was served on them. That this was, that these were the photos and texts that were associated to his Ethan.Crumbley Instagram account.
Okay, but when you look at the photographs and you look at the documents, is there anything, any reference to his actual account? And if so, where is that?
To the ones starting on page 6, ma'am?
Yes.
There is not, starting on page 15, it does again appear his name, Ethan.Crumbley. It was the finger, the circle finger like that. And then also for the very last one on page 16, his name is also associated to that one as well.
Your Honor, on the page 15 and 16 that the detective just pointed out, those are like the first couple pictures. We have no objection to
I
those.
understand, I can see the difference between them. So the question is for pages 6 through 14, other than what Instagram told you, how do you know that that's his account?
Based on these documents, there's no way to know unless we were, we'd probably have to do a couple more search warrants on an IP address or something to see where it came from. But that's usually Instagram. When we ask for a specific account, they give us everything associated to the account that we serve the preservation letter on also.
So, Your Honor, we would object to part 7, pages 7 through 14, being admitted. We have no objection, I'm sorry, page 5.
Page 6.
6 through 17, there's actually not that. 6 through 14, there's no basis for. Page 15 is fine, page 16 is fine, and pages 1 through 5 are fine.
Judge, you can give it whatever weight the court determines. I've already made my position.
You certainly will have the opportunity to cross-examine him on that, and counsel's correct. I will consider the weight of that evidence as it relates to those pages and the information that we just gleaned from the detective, whether or not we can actually attribute this to his account.
Thank you, Judge. Now, Detective, if somebody has, just as a general course, if you have an Instagram account and you post and share photographs, people who follow you can view those, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, looking on the devices of both James and Jennifer Crumbley, were you able to determine if they followed the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Yes, sir.
All right. May I approach the minutes, Judge?
Yes.
We can do people's 14 and people's 15. Okay. Starting with 14. So what have I just handed you?
PDF exports from UFID Fiscal Analyzer software.
Okay, so we're looking at an export from Jennifer Crumbley's contacts regarding Instagram. Is that right?
On Exhibit 14?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you obtained that from the device itself, from Jennifer Crumbley's device itself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People move to admit 14?
Your Honor, I would object. I don't see it all where it says it's from Jennifer's device.
May I?
Detective, could you identify how you were able to determine that this is
When I was examining the device, I went to the contacts within what I knew to be her phone, which was compared with her phone number, and I exported it from her contacts.
May I ask a follow-up question, Judge, the detective? Now, sir, every time you actually hit export and create a PDF, it doesn't actually list the phone's name, user account, phone number, am I right?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so this is based upon your actual knowledge, your personal knowledge of the phone data extraction.
Correct.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would object. I can't see that from this portion of the exhibit that they've tendered.
Yeah, but you have his testimony, so you can certainly cross-examine him. He's indicated that he was the one that extracted it, and he is verifying based upon what he did, that this is in fact the documentation from that extraction. You will have the opportunity to cross-examine him on that. For purposes of admissibility, I'm going to allow it.
Your Honor, I would, just for the record, joining the objection. And I don't know if we addressed that before, but Mr. Crumble would be joining any of the objections we raised for Mr. Crumble.
I'm going to publish 14, which is in your hand right now. And this is what the PDF looks like when you export that information, am I right?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, you have 15 in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what 15 is.
15 is an export from James Crumbley's cell phone of his contacts.
Okay. And that is James Crumbley's Instagram contacts as well?
Correct.
Okay. What does that tell you?
It says has a contact of Ethan Crumbley on Instagram, and he's following.
Okay. You're following Ethan Crumbley. All right. That is 15. People move to him at 15.
Same objection.
Same objection, Your Honor.
Same objection for Dr. Crumbley.
It's the same objection, but Your Honor, it's the same objection.
Corporal admitted over objection for the reasons previously stated on the record.
Thank you. I'm going to publish this for the detective to verify that what I've published is what's in his hand. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Now, sir, did you have the opportunity to review Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram returns?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, were there pictures and posts that you were able to obtain from that Instagram return?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to approach with people 16.
Good Lord, y'all, this is boring.
And approach us. This is people post 16. There's 4 pages here. Sir, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize that?
It's a search warrant return, a printout of the search warrant return from Instagram.
Okay, and that's on the Jennifer Crumbley's identified Instagram account?
Correct.
People move to him at 16.
The objection of again, James Crumbley is 16.
No objection to 16 for Jennifer.
No objection, Your Honor.
That will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to publish this for you, sir.
Absolutely agreed, Slinky Moon. Absolutely agreed. They are going to tie it together.
The way the Ethan.Crumbley account looked, this account also has posts and text. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay, so we have the first page here. We have a photograph,
Correct.
and I want to make sure we're looking at the same photograph. What are you seeing, sir?
I'm seeing a target got up here, 4 bullet holes in it.
Okay. Now, do we have a date and time of the photograph taken?
Taken 11/27/2021 at 1903 UTC or 203 in Michigan.
203. All right, thank you. And do we have a text associated with that photograph?
Yes, sir.
And what's the text?
It says, Mom and Sunday testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm. I hit the bullseye.
All right. On the second page, do we have another photograph?
Yes, sir.
And what do we see here?
It's a pulled back picture of appears to be the same target.
And the target, does it have a name at the top?
Accurate firearms.
Do we have a date and time taken?
Taken 11/27/2021 at 1903 UTC or 203 in Michigan.
So we see a text, Mom and Sunday testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm. I hit bullseye. I hit the bullseye. Is that the same text as the first post?
Correct, sir.
All right, thank you. Now we have another picture here. What do we see here?
That one appears to be a Sig Sauer handgun in a gun case with 2 magazines.
All right. What's underneath the 6-hour handgun?
Looks like a pamphlet, says ATF Youth Handgun Act Notice.
And what time was this taken?
This was taken at 11/27/2021 at 1903 UTC or 203 in Michigan.
And what's the text posted by the user on this account?
Same as the last one, Mom and Sunday, testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting 9mm, I hit the bullseye.
Thank you. Now, sir, when you as an investigator obtain data from social media returns like Instagram or Facebook, do you then go through the devices themselves to correlate what other activities happening the same dates and times?
Usually, yes, sir. Not extensively. You don't want to go through the whole phone and change things or possibly delete things or move things around. But I just look for small key things that I'm going to see when I start examining the phone from the data that was pulled from it.
Okay. So we've already identified the post on the Ethan.Crumbley account of the handgun and the text message associated with that post about my new beauty. That was taken on November the 26th. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review the videos on Ethan Crumbley's cell phone data extraction?
Yes, sir.
Specifically, November the 26th, 2021 at 6:39 p.m., a video posted that date and time. Did you review that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you've already had the chance before today to view that video, am I right?
Correct.
Okay. People move to omit. This is 17.
Any objection from James Crumley?
No, Your Honor.
From Jeff Crumley?
No, Your Honor, as long as we're going to watch the video, I can make sure it's what.
Absolutely.
All right, the exhibit, that's exhibit 17.
I'm going to play it on the screen here. And sir, if you could confirm that this is what you actually found off the phone. And sir, was that what you found off of Ethan Crumley's phone on November the 26th, 6:39 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, does this firearm appear to be consistent with the firearm posted on the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Yes, sir.
Does it also appear to be consistent with the firearm posted on Jennifer Crumley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this is a 13-second clip. I'm going to back it up just a little bit at really at the very end, in the 13th second here. What is this right here that we're looking at, this black rope object?
That would be a gun lock.
Okay. And is a gun lock provided to the purchaser of a handgun typically?
Yes, sir.
All right. And we already talked about that ATF notice. I'm going to back this video up a little bit more. Tell me, sir, do we see that pamphlet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that the same, appear to be the same ATF Youth Handgun Act notice?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And just for the record, that was 17. Sir, now I want to move on to Facebook returns.
Okay, y'all, that
You
was kind of
told me
big.
the username of Jennifer Crumbley's Facebook profile.
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
JC Rumbley.
Okay. Were you able to determine the username of James Crumbley's Facebook profile?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall that?
James R. Crumbly.
Correct. Were you able to extract a Facebook Messenger thread between the defendants, between James and Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes, sir.
And if printed out, how many pages would it be?
Oh, thousands, I believe.
Now, I want to talk specifically about the pages that the text that begin on 2042 through 2046 of that messenger thread. And Judge, for the record, we've tendered the entire messenger thread over to the defense, and I believe the court has a copy as well.
That's marked as exhibit 18.
18, yes, Judge. Thank you.
Are you moving for disability right now?
I am, as soon as this detective, I'll send it to you. May I approach the witness?
There's no stipulation on that, correct?
Counsel, I don't recall if you discussed it under that. Counsel, do we have a stipulation on exhibit 18?
I apologize, yes, exhibit 18 we do.
Thank you.
Okay, so stipulation is both defendants as to a disability of 18.
Correct, Your Honor.
Is that it?
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
This is exhibit 18. For the record, we have 5 pages there. I'm going to publish on the screen. Okay, I want to start with November the 30th. Okay, can you see the screen? All right, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we have Blue bubble on the left-hand side, the first text or Facebook messenger on November the 30th is from who?
From J.C. Rumbley.
Okay, and that's identified obviously as defendant Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what date and time was this?
That was at 11/30/2021 at 9:33 a.m.
All right. If you could read that post, please.
Call now, emergency, now's in all caps.
Okay. Now, the second message she sent? The first message to follow that, rather.
Yep. Sent after that was just the word emergency.
And what time was that sent?
9:35 a.m.
33 or 9:35?
35, ma'am.
And what was the next message on that thread?
Jennifer sent 2 photos.
Okay, and were you able to tell in your data extractions and your review what these photographs were that she sent?
Yes, sir.
And what are those photographs?
It's the drawing, the math test that Ethan had that he had drawn on.
Emergency, you think?
And sir, the top one has already been admitted as evidence, and that is Exhibit 7. The other one is going to be Exhibit 78. This is 78.
I'm sorry, you said it's exhibit 7, what's the other one?
7 and 78, Judge.
78.
This is a new edition, Judge.
I have through 77.
May I approach when it's out published to the court? This has been already admitted as 7. And what am I handing you right now?
It's a screenshot that is within the text message. The
Is
message.
that the first screenshot or the second screenshot, if you can tell?
Appears to be the first.
Okay. Now, this is people's proposed 78. Sir, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize that?
It's the same. It's a math test, a copy of the math test with certain parts of it scribbled out.
Okay. And that would be the second attachment sent?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People move to omit 78. I'll publish it to the court.
Mark
that.
I will.
Yeah, we gotta have it back. Any objection by James Crumbley? No objection, Your Honor. Any objection by Jennifer Crumbley? No objection. Okay, so 78 will be admitted. That is a separate photograph that's gonna be hard to find.
May I approach the bench?
Yes. And that matches, I'm sorry, the first or the second photograph on the Facebook postings.
The second.
Yeah.
Do I see it again?
Yeah. No, it's the second. Yes, ma'am. I just want to make sure.
I'm going to put 78 on the screen to make sure that we are all talking about the same exhibit. Sir, is what I'm showing you on the screen right now, is this what we have identified as Exhibit 78?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this was the second screenshot sent by Jennifer Crumbley,
Correct.
and that was on a text thread between Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley, correct?
A Facebook message. Yes, sir.
Facebook message, thank you. And that means it was sent by Jennifer to James?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to put up Exhibit 7 right now. And sir, this is what we identified as the first screenshot sent. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, going back now to 18, which is the text, the Facebook message thread between Jennifer and James Crumbley. What time were these screenshots sent?
They were sent on 11/30/2021 at 9:38 a.m.
Okay. And I scroll down and I see a duplicate message. Is there, can you tell what happened there?
It's just where the software, it searches multiple areas and the device stores in different places. So whether it's found in a file system extraction or what's called a logical extraction, it's just letting you know that it found it in multiple places.
Thank you. And we have identical thing happening next. Okay, what was the response from James Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley?
James respond with, "My God, WTF."
What's WTF mean?
Excuse my language, ma'am. What the fuck?
Okay. That was sent November 30th, 2021, 9:44 a.m. from James to Jennifer Crumbley.
Yes, sir.
What's his next post? His next message, rather?
Vet not here yet. It's Muckle Murray from Kira's Horse, still waiting on vet.
What time was that sent?
That was at 9:45 a.m.
And what was Jennifer Crumley's response?
Her response, he said he was distraught about last night.
Okay. So she wrote, he said he was distraught about last night on November 30, 2021 at 9:50 a.m.
Correct.
What was James Crumbley's response to that message?
We talked about it this morning.
And go ahead and continue.
James then said, you talked to him?
And then her response?
She responded with, can you call? Question mark, heading to a school.
Okay. And then what is this last post here? On the first post on page 2046.
Jennifer saying, I'm very concerned.
Okay. And she wrote that November 30th, 2021 at 10:04 a.m.
Correct.
And then what's the next one?
At 10:12, she said, headed to a school.
Okay. Now these Facebook messages here that we referred to occurred, I think 9:33 a.m. was the first one, and then 10:12:58 was the last one. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now through the data extractions, are you able to tell if they're communicating other than just Facebook Messenger?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review the call logs?
Yes, sir.
And are call logs part of your standard data extraction information that you receive?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you people's proposed 19. May I approach, Judge? No, sir, that is a PDF export from a call log data extraction from James Crumbley's phone. Is that right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's obviously not every phone call for the history of the device, but that's specific to that day that's been exported. Am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right, there's one highlighted portion on there. And what is the date and time from that?
The date and time is 11/30/2021 at 10:29 a.m.
Okay, does that have a phone number, who he called?
It's to, the contact is labeled Jen, the 248-760-7502.
And that's the phone number you later learned to be Jennifer Crumbley's?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and that's the export that you received from James Crumbley's phone?
Yes, sir.
People moved him at 19.
Any objection?
No objection.
No, no objection. Be admitted.
Thank you. Excuse me. Detective on the screen here, are we looking at the same exhibit? This is exhibit 19?
It appears so, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna scroll down to the highlighted portion. This is 2, and then the phone number you identified as Jennifer Crumbley with the date November 30, 2021, in the time of 10:29 a.m.
Yes, sir.
And does it have a length of that phone conversation?
The length is 7 minutes and 16 seconds.
Okay, so we can tell they had a phone conversation at 10:23 a.m. for 7 minutes. Is that right?
10:29 a.m.
10:29. Thank you.
Sorry, the date was 11:30, the time was 10:29, correct?
Correct, yes,
It
ma'am.
was a 7-minute call.
Yes, ma'am.
Your
Thank you,
Honor,
Judge.
we have no objection to the admission of this, but the highlighting the prosecutor has added to it makes it look like they only had one 7-minute call when there's multiple calls between Jen and James, like preceding the highlighted call.
I can see that. I mean, that's clearly visible, that there's more than one call. He's just asking about the one highlighted. So if you want to ask him about the others, you certainly will have that opportunity.
I have no problem, acknowledging that fact. That's perfectly fine. All right. Now, were you able to tell if anyone from the Oxford High School contacted Jennifer Crumbley on the morning of November the 30th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
Looking at this exhibit number 19.
No, I'm sorry. We're moving on now. You had a chance to look at Jennifer Crumbley's call records as well. Am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. So you were able to tell if she received a phone call from the school on November the 30th?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right. Now, in addition to the data extractions that you performed on these devices, you had testified earlier that you went to Oxford High School and you actually reviewed the footage on November the 30th.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And were you requested to review footage from a meeting with James and Jennifer Crumbley with members of the Oxford High School on November the 30th?
Yes, sir.
Now, you've come to learn that Oxford High School has both internal and external surveillance cameras, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you able to determine what time these defendants arrived at the Oxford High School on November the 30th, 2021?
I believe it was about 10:37.
Okay. Now, sir, when you went through this, did you make any notes about it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. When you say I believe, if you're not sure, let me know, and let me know if reviewing those notes will refresh your recollection.
Reviewing those would refresh my recollection.
It would?
for sure. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
May I approach the witness? I'm handing you a printout, and I have no problem with defense sees it as well when he's done reviewing it. What? Just tell me what I've handed you, sir.
It's the notes I took of when certain events happened and what cameras they came into and what they were doing as they approached the school and came into the school and left the school.
Okay, so these are just the notes you took to keep the time straight. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm referring specifically to November the 30th, 2021, the time that James and Jennifer Crumbley arrived at the Oxford High School. Do you know what time that happened?
It was at 10:37.
Okay. And then do you have recollection of when James and Jennifer Crumbley were actually seen into the office of Oxford High School?
If I refer to my notes just real quick, they entered the office at 10:39
Okay.
in 25 seconds.
And do you know what time they were greeted by a school employee?
At 10:40.
And what time were they escorted somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. And what time were they seen next on the cameras leaving that meeting?
They were seen leaving counseling at 10:53.
So this meeting lasted, according to your camera review, approximately 13 minutes?
Yes, sir.
So what time did they leave the school?
They left the school at 10:54.
Did they arrive at the school in one car or two cars?
One car.
Did they leave in one car or two cars?
One car.
And what time did they actually leave the actual school grounds, if you know?
We were leaving the parking lot at 10:56.
10:56, okay. So I'm going to show you on the screen here what's already been admitted as people 6. Now, this is a series of screenshots of messages between Kira Pinnock, and Jennifer Crumbley.
I'm sorry, what was it, very good?
6.
6?
Now, sir, you told us that they left the parking lot. James and Jennifer Crumbley left the parking lot together on November the 30th, 2021 at 10:56 a.m.
Correct.
I'm looking for the first message after 10:56 a.m. What do we see here?
It's a message at 10:58 a.m.
Okay, and we've already identified this as Jennifer Crumbley to Kira Pinnock of K. I'll bring some out later. Just had to go to my son's school and meet his counselor. Shit day. Now, you've told us that you've had the opportunity to review messages on Jennifer Crumbley's phone. Am I right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see this particular message on Jennifer Crumbley's phone?
I don't remember seeing that.
Okay. And if it wasn't on Jennifer Crumbley's device, what does that tell you as an investigator?
That it was deleted.
Now, sir, you've had the chance to look at, you told us about DoorDash search warrant records. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
And you did so because you came to learn that James Crumbley was employed by DoorDash.
Correct.
Okay. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Y'all, his parents left the school less than 2 hours before the shooting.
Sir, what am I handing you right now?
This is a map I made from the DoorDash search warrant return.
Okay. And what did you do with that information and how did you create that map?
I just put marks on there for when the first DoorDash pickup was and what time it was, the location on the map, and then where that drop off was in relation to the Crumbley residence.
Okay. Now, what is the first, we know this meeting ended at 10:56. They left the parking lot at 10:56 a.m. on November the 30th. What is the first information, the first activity on James Crumbley's DoorDash after that meeting ended?
Yeah, are you really good at this?
Yes, sir. Thank you. People, that's
Any
20.
objection to the admissibility of exhibit 20?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, be a minute, go ahead, now you can ask me about it.
Thank you. Sir, what is the first activity you see after James and Jennifer Crumbley left the meeting at Oxford High School on November the 30th?
Logged in and had his first DoorDash pickup at 1100 hours, 11 a.m.
Okay. So I want to make sure my times are right. The first message from Jennifer Crumbley was to Kira Pinnock at 10:58.
Correct.
Which is 2 minutes after they were seen leaving the parking lot. And the first activity on James Crumbley's phone was 11 a.m., which is 4 minutes after they left the parking lot. Am I right?
The first activity from the DoorDash
From
records,
the DoorDash.
It was 11.
And what does this DoorDash record tell you?
that he had, his first pickup was at 1100 and dropped it off at 1119.
So he was making DoorDash deliveries.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does it have the last DoorDash delivery on there?
There were a total of 4 of them on there. The fourth one was at 12:51 p.m. pickup and dropped off at 1:01.
Now, I'm going to back up just a little bit. This is to November the 29th. I'm sorry, November the 30th at 1:34 p.m. It's been stipulated to as Exhibit 5. This is the 911 call, Judge. Sir, you've had the opportunity to review a 911 recording made by James Crumbley on November the 30th. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so everyone is aware, Judge, there are 2 recordings. However, it's the same phone call. It was just James Crumley was put on hold for a period of time. So I'll have to cycle through 2 different recordings as well. After we listen to this, I'm just going to verify with you that it is the full and complete recording.
Yes, sir.
This is Exhibit 5.
Oh my God, he was put on hold?
The location of your emergency.
Okay, I'm not really sure. I'm at my house. There's an active shooter situation going on at the high school. My son goes to high school. I have a missing gun at my house. I need an officer to come to my house right away, please.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to send anybody to your house right now, so they're on the active shooter situation right now.
I understand that. There's a million cops there. I have a missing gun, and my son was at the school, and we had to go meet with the counselor this morning because of something that he wrote on a pen paper, and then I was in down, and I saw a whole bunch of cops going somewhere, and I made sure that I wanted to get to the high school because I was going to high school, and then somebody told me that there was an active shooter, and then I raced home just to find out. And I think my son took the gun. I don't know. With him, I don't know what's going on. It's really tricky now. My son's name is Ethan Crumbley. Crumbley.
E-W-Y. All right, sir, I'm gonna put you on hold for just 1 second, okay? Mr. Dr. Cookman, come in and see if I can do anything for you, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, but Slinky Moon, too little, too late.
All right, I'm gonna get your name and phone number, and I'm gonna have one of the senators out there dealing with the situation. He's gonna contact you, okay? What's your first name?
My first name is James.
And your last name, sir, please?
Yes.
Okay. And what's that phone number for you?
248-760-6483.
Okay, do you know what your son was wearing when he left the house this morning?
He had on a pair of sweatpants and like a gray shirt, a gray red sweatshirt.
Okay. All right. Somebody's gonna give you a call, okay? I can't give you a time frame because they're right in the middle of all of this. I can't give you a time frame, but we're gonna give you a call so that it's possible, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Sir, was that a full and complete recording of the 911 call made by James Crumley on November the 30th?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That was Exhibit 5. That was Exhibit 5, which we have stipulated to. Yes. Now, sir, I'm going to ask you about some things found on Ethan Crumbley's phone and some things found on Jennifer Crumbley's phone. Starting first with Jennifer, and again, this is the original phone that was seized from her on November the 30th.
Okay.
Starting with Jennifer Crumbley's phones, does your data extraction also include internet search results?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the witness? This is people's proposed 21. So that is front and back. What have I just handed you?
It is the web history, a snippet of the web history for Jennifer's phone.
Okay, and what date specifically?
11/29/2021 at 3:05 a.m.
Okay, and that was taken from Jennifer Crumbley's phone
Correct. Yes, sir.
in the data extraction?
Yes, sir.
People move to admit 21.
Any objection from Jennifer Crumbley?
No, Your Honor.
James Crumbley?
No, Your Honor.
He admitted.
Okay, I'm publishing on the screen here, sir. We have a snippet, like you said, web history of 4. What is the search terms entered on Jennifer Crumley's phone?
Research clinical depression treatment options.
And what time was that? What date and time?
That was at 11/29/2021 at 3:05 a.m.
Okay. And then we have that repeated here for this entire export. Why
Correct.
is that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Why is it repeated like that?
Because actually what I went and did, I clicked on each one of those. It just took me to a different page of, as page 1, page 2, page 3 of the initial search.
Okay, so what did she actually type in?
Typed in research clinical depression treatment options.
Now, going back to the 293-page text thread between Ethan Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbley, specifically pages, about 150 to 152. This is people 22. I believe we have a stipulation to this. May I approach? Do you recognize those 3 pages?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how do you recognize that?
It's a chat conversation between Ethan and Jennifer.
Okay, and what date does that start?
Starts on, the first date on here is March 6th,
Okay.
2021.
People move to admit. This is Exhibit 22, Judge.
Any objection on behalf of Jennifer Crumbley?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection on behalf of James Crumbley?
No objection, Your Honor.
Be admitted.
Now, I'm going to direct you specifically to the first text message on March the 9th, 2021. So we're looking at the first page. This will be page 150 of the 293-page text string. And it's it appears to be from Ethan Crumbley. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
And it's to Jennifer Crumbley?
The owner, yes, sir.
All right. And what's the first text here and the time?
He's saying, can you get home now? On
Okay.
March 9th, 2021 at 7:50 p.m.
Okay. Please continue.
It follows up with, there's someone in the house, I think,
What time is that?
7:50 p.m. and 17 seconds.
Okay.
Then he says, someone walked into the bathroom and flushed the toilet and left the light on at 7:50 and 39 seconds p.m.
And the next?
And I thought it was you, but when I came out, there was no one home.
Please continue.
There's no one in the house though, THO. Dude, my door just slammed.
And then what does he write at March 9th, 2021 at 8:01 p.m.?
Maybe it's just my,
Thank you.
maybe it's just my paranoia.
In the next message?
But Ethan says, but when are you going to get home?
And is there a response at some point?
Not on that date, no.
Okay. What's the first response you see?
First response is the next day at 10:21 a.m. Where's your dad?
Okay, so the last text from Ethan about maybe it's just my paranoia, and then, but when are you going to get home? Those are at 8:01 p.m., March the 9th.
Correct, yes, sir.
And the first response from Jennifer Crumbley is March the 10th at 10:21 a.m. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
I'm going to show you pages 171 to 173 in the same thread. This is Exhibit 23. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
And sir, do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes, sir.
And again, that is the same text thread of Ethan and Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. People move to admit 23.
Any objection to Jennifer Crumbley?
No objection.
James Crumbley?
No objection, Your Honor.
Be admitted.
Okay. I'm going to publish on the screen. Let me know if you can't read it, okay, Detective? Now, starting with this blue bubble on the left, March 17, 2021, 6:03 p.m. That's from Ethan Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, what does that say?
Says, okay, the house is now haunted.
Okay, what's next?
He then says, some weird shit just happens and now I'm scared.
Please continue.
I got some videos.
What time is that?
That was at 6:03 and 12 seconds p.m.
Tell me, what's this text right here say?
On the next page, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The next text says, and a picture of the demon.
Okay. And what time and date does he send the text and a picture of the demon?
That was at 6:03 and 12 seconds PM.
March 17th, 2021?
March 17th. Yes, sir.
Okay. The next text?
He texts, it is throwing bowls in all capital letters, bowls.
Also at 6:03 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next text?
Next text says, I'm not joking. It fucked up the kitchen at 6:03 p.m.
Okay. The next one?
He says, I'm just going to be an outsider for a while. Be outsider for a while.
And that's 6:03 as well?
Yes, sir.
And what about on March 17th, 6:29 p.m.? What does he write?
6:29, he says, can you at least text back?
Is there a response from Jennifer Crumble then?
Not on that date, sir.
So I want to make sure that we're all clear. These text messages here, this was found on the text message thread between Jennifer and James Crumbley. These weren't selectively exported. This is the way the text message conversation read. Am I right?
Jennifer and Ethan.
Jennifer and Ethan, thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is the way that the conversation actually read.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first response from Jennifer Crumbley to Ethan Crumbley on text message was this one right here on March 19th, 2021 at 4:11 p.m. when she writes, "Where's your dad?"
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if we could, let's continue. The next text message, March 19th, 2021.
At 7:48, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The next one. At 7:48 p.m., text me when you're done.
Okay.
Then at 9:02 p.m., she texts done yet?
All right.
Question mark.
And the next text message on this thread from Ethan to Jennifer Crumbley occurs what time?
It occurred the next on March 20th, 2021 at 2:33 p.m.
And what does he write?
I finished picking up the room.
Okay. The next text, please.
I cleaned until the clothes started flying off the shelf.
What time did he write that?
That was on March 20th at 2:34 p.m.
Okay. And the following text?
Following text, this stuff only happens when I'm home alone
And what time is that?
at 2:34 p.m.
All right. And then the last text on this thread here.
I picked the clothes back up though at 2:34 p.m.
Now, because you've actually reviewed all 3 data extractions and all social media accounts, when you learn something along the lines of this information, such as on March 17th of 2021, Ethan Crumbley texting and took a picture of the demon, were you able to then go back through these defendants' cell phones to get an idea of what they're doing at those dates and times?
Yes, sir.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, sir.
Are you able, through your data extractions, to tell us what Jennifer Crumbley was doing on March the 9th, March 17th, and March the 20th?
Horseback riding.
Now, how were you able to make that determination?
You could go and look at the pictures and just narrow down your search for those specific days, or the software puts everything in a timeline. So it's just a chronological order of when things are happening on that device.
And do images stored on Jennifer Crumbley's phone on that device, do they have a date and timestamp?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes.
This is People's Proposed 24. Sir, that's a photograph?
Yes, sir.
And do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
I've seen it on Jennifer's phone.
Okay, does it have a date and timestamp at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is the date and time?
March 9th, 2021 at 4:55 p.m.
Okay, people move to admit 24.
No objection.
No objection, Mr. Crumble, you admitted.
Okay, what we're looking at here on the screen is a photograph taken from Jennifer Crumbley's phone, and we have it taken on March 9th, 2021 at 4:55 p.m. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. May I approach again, Judge?
Yes.
Yes, Slinky Moon, yes.
25. Sir, I handed you a photograph again.
Yes, sir.
And does that photograph have a date and timestamp?
It does. March 17th, 2021 at 6:03 p.m.
Okay, people move to admit 25.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection, Mr. Crumble.
This is a photograph of James Crumbley stored on Jennifer Crumbley's phone, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and the date and time is March 17th, 2021 at 6:03 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And what was happening at March 17th, 2021 at 6:03 p.m. on the text message thread?
Ethan was texting his mom.
What was he texting about then?
I believe on the March 17th when he was seeing, he said the house is haunted. And he has videos and a picture of the demon.
May I approach? This is a photograph people post 26. Sir, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
How so?
It's seen on Jennifer's phone.
People move to admit 26.
Any objection? No, Your Honor. None for Mr. Crumley.
And we also have a date and timestamp on the bottom of this.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. You would characterize this as a selfie, am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is March 17th, 2021 at 6:03 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And finally, people 27 may approach.
So sad, y'all. So sad.
Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize that?
Again, it was on Jennifer's phone.
People move to admit 27.
No objection. No objection for Mr. Crumley.
Hey, Barbara. Hey,
And
love.
this was taken March 20th, 2021 at 12:02 p.m. Am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right. Again, photographs of horses.
Yes, sir.
Now, looking at the data extraction on Jennifer Crumbley's phone, we can see no text back in relation to clothes flying off the shelves or seeing demons, things like that. But were there any other phone calls or any other messages on any other messaging apps?
No, sir.
And were there any text messages in relation to demons or things flying off shelves or the house being haunted on James Crumbley's phone to Ethan Crumbley?
No, sir.
Were there any phone calls from James Crumbley to Ethan Crumbley during this time span?
No, sir.
No phone calls from Jennifer Crumbley to Ethan Crumbley during this time span either.
No, sir.
Oh my God, y'all. No phone calls, no texts, no nothing. And yes, Slinky Moon, this mama bear.
People's Post 28. This is back to the Facebook Messenger thread between Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley. This is a portion of pages 440 to 443. And this is that over 2,000 page Facebook Messenger.
Yes, sir.
Just to make sure we're on the same page. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
So do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how do you recognize that?
It was a conversation between James and Jennifer through
Okay,
Facebook Messenger.
Facebook Messenger. I believe we already have a stipulation of this. This is Exhibit 28.
This is 28.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct stipulation as to admissibility?
Yes, no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to publish it on the left. Now, this is the conversation between James and Jennifer Crumbley on the same dates that we were just referring to when Ethan Crumbley was texting Jennifer Crumbley about seeing a demon, the house is haunted, for context, okay?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So on the left, we have from J.C. Rumbley, you identified that as Jennifer Crumbley's account.
Correct.
On the right, we have James R. Crumbley, which we've identified as James Crumbley's account.
Correct.
All right. So I'm going to go to starting with March 19th, 2021, 9:37 a.m. from Jennifer to James. What did she write?
9:37. You awake.
Okay. And then the next message, please.
Ethan awake.
James's response.
James responds, yeah.
Okay. And Jennifer.
She responds with, how is he?
Okay. And what does James write?
He responds with, he woke up looking like he had way, in all caps, too much to drink last night, complaining about a headache.
Okay. What was Jennifer's response to that?
She responded with, well, he was really worked up and out of control, so I can see why.
Okay. The next message.
All I know is he needs to eat, go to work and work hard and not complain, and he can get his stuff back.
Wow.
Next message.
Jennifer's asking, you respond, and I didn't get it, question mark.
And then these responses.
James responds with, Jesus, yes,
Okay, then when does he write to her? March 19th, 2021 at 10:17 a.m.
He said, let me ask you a question. Why am I in your guy's room? LOL.
Okay, just so we're clear, the text actually says, he said, but you're not actually saying what James said, am I right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And then her response,
OMG.
and what's that mean for the record?
General, oh my God.
What does James write to Jennifer on March 19th at 10:17 a.m.?
I totally thought you were giving him a Xanax last night.
Her response?
Does he seem better?
And
No
then-
melatonin.
Okay. And what does James say?
I know.
Okay, please continue with it.
Okay. But Jennifer then says, but he hasn't had one before. Should only give him half. James responds with, he is just doing his school, says his head hurts. He took Tylenol. Jennifer responds with, is he okay to work? Question mark. James says, yeah. Jennifer says, does he remember what he did? James says, dude, I am working on a demo right now. I have not talked to him and he is doing school.
Okay.
Keep in mind, guys, this is
Those
while
are
he
the
was Zoom
conversations
school.
between James and Jennifer Crumbley, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, back to Exhibit 10. That is the text thread between, the end of the text thread between Ethan Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbley. I'm going to pull that up again for you. It's already been admitted. I just want you to tell us, please, what is the last thing that Jennifer Crumbley writes to Ethan Crumbley on this text thread?
Do I still have this? I can't see that screen that far.
Speak it, Elizabeth. Speak it.
That's these 2 pages. At what time?
The very last text message.
The very last text message was, Ethan, don't do it.
Okay. That was the last text message from Jennifer Crumbley to Ethan Crumbley, and that was November the 30th, 2021 at 1:22 p.m. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, sir, we were talking about Jennifer Crumbley's phone. I want to talk to you a little bit about what was found on Ethan Crumbley's phone. Now, did you uncover a text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and another individual we're not going to name, but we know that that person is a juvenile? Did you uncover a text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and that person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long was that text thread?
There's about 25,000 chats, text back and forth.
Comparing that text message thread on Ethan Crumbley's phone to all other message threads, is there anything that's is remotely close in size or
Sorry, more close to what?
anything remotely close in size to the level of text messages between Ethan Crumbley and that juvenile?
No, the next closest was just over 100.
Okay, so is it fair to say, based upon your data extraction of Ethan Crumbley's phone, that is the person that he communicated with the most?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, I want to specifically point you to the dates of April the 5th, 2021 on that text message thread. And this is Exhibit 29. May I approach?
Yes.
Judge, so you're aware, we had a discussion, counsel and I had a discussion earlier today about certain portions being redacted or not redacted. We have complied with counsel's request and provided unredacted portions. Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
You have these unredacted portions after a conversation this morning?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'll get in that line, Elizabeth. I'll get in that line.
So, may I approach? So this will be the new Exhibit 29. So this is what identified as Exhibit 29. With those modifications, I don't believe we have an objection to the admissibility of Exhibit 29. But let me ask you, Detective, this was a portion of the text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and that juvenile.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And on the top of page 29, what's the date and time?
April 5th, 2021 at 12:38 a.m.
Okay, and we already know this is from Ethan Crumbley's device from his phone, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
So on the right, it's going to be green. It's going to say owner.
Correct.
That would be Ethan Crumble.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to say 2, and it's going to be the person who's texting 2.
Correct. Yes,
Is that
sir.
right? Okay. People move to admit 29.
Any objection?
No objection. No objection for Mr. Crumley.
Can I vote council approach for a moment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a heads up. Life might get a little interesting in a second. Why did that pause? It shouldn't have. Hold on. But I'm telling my girl's going to be home in a second. Oh, they muted it. Okay. My girl's going to be home in a few minutes. So what I'm going to end up doing is relocating. It'll be interesting, but I'm going to keep this going as long as possible. Guys, I am so just disgusted and saddened by what we're hearing. What is happening? The feed is still saying that it's playing, so maybe it's, oh, wait, hold on. Okay, no, it's still up. The feed is still up. They'll come back. It's because of the sidebar. I'm just so disgusted. These parents just make me Slinky Moon, there would be a line of mama bears waiting to. I'm going to stop sharing this so you're not seeing that craziness. I still have the feed up in the background so that when they come back, I'll know. But gosh, y'all, I totally want to slap the shit out of both of them and the school and everybody else involved in this. This kid was epically struggling. Elizabeth, no joke. No joke. Yeah, I've got a bum shoulder too, but I'd take that pain. The fact that he's sending these messages, and this was way back in March, guys. He's sending messages to his parents that there are demons in his house and it's possessed, and they couldn't even be bothered to respond to him. Oh, I think we're back. Hold on. We're back. Hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Reshare.
Told them about the people I saw.
Okay, what time was that, son?
That was at 12:38 a.m., 25 seconds.
And the response in the blue bubble?
The response was, okay.
Now I want to talk to you about this one right here on page 3, April 5th, 2021 at 12:39 a.m. What is that text message from Ethan?
From Ethan says, like I am mentally and physically dying.
Oh my gosh, y'all.
And that is on April the 5th of 2021, am I correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, on this large, substantial text thread between Ethan Crumbley and that other individual, there were videos as attachments as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you had the opportunity to review not only the text messages, but those images?
Yes, sir.
Now, was there a video sent on August the 19th, 2021 from Ethan Crumbley to this person?
Yes, sir.
And you've had the opportunity to view that from the data extraction on Ethan Crumbley's phone?
Correct, yes, sir.
People move to admit 30.
Any objection?
Your Honor, to be honest, I don't know what video is the 819 video. Are you gonna play it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, y'all. This is
You
heartbreaking.
want to look at my screen here and I can unhook it? You also have a flash drive.
Are you gonna show it to her now?
Yes.
Before you move to admit, I'm gonna take a quick break.
Thank you, Judge.
All rise. Court is in recess.
I was muted. Ha, boomer. I stopped sharing that while the court's in recess. I just turned the volume down on that so that I can hear when they can come back. But y'all, how freaking sad is this? Good for you, Slinky Moon. And you know what? I agree with this absolutely 1000%. After hearing this, you said, I believe the ones who see this abuse should be writing letters to this judge. This kid was alone, and it's sad as fuck. And I'm sorry. Yes, I said it. It is. And it is infuriating. It is, oh, yoy. Good idea, Slinky. I agree. And I'm going to tell you, when this case broke and I was watching it unfold and everything involved, I mean, they are literally setting an epic legal precedent here. This has never been done before, holding the parents accountable. And at first I was like, okay. I mean, I watch a wide variety of channels. I obviously love true crime, but I also like seeing it from a hardcore legal standpoint. And one channel that I really highly recommend, if you haven't found Crime Talk with Scott Reich yet, please go find him. He's amazing. He breaks down the legal arguments. And I remember right after the parents got charged that Scott came out with the opinion that he didn't think that they could make this stick. And that may be true. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I do work in the legal field, but not criminal. So I don't know. But he didn't believe that they were going to be able to make this stick. I hope like hell, based off of everything we're hearing, the level of neglect and abuse and I hope they can make this stick. And I think now we know a lot more about why they were charged so quickly. Because this is literally new legal precedents and grounds. And frankly, if a parent can be held accountable for a teenager who is driving and gets into a car wreck, the parents can be sued for that, right? And granted, I do understand that we're talking about a difference between civil and legal. I get that, right? But at the end of the day, if a parent can be held legally accountable for that, they obviously did not secure this gun. He obviously had access to it. He was throwing off alarm bells as far as we know, as far back as March. Nothing was done about it. Oh, wait, I think we're back. Hold on, maybe. Let me look. Not quite. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. Butterfly! And you're right, Slinky Moon. It will. Elizabeth, this kid isn't even old enough to drive. You're right. Nobody cared. Now, I will say I am going to be covering the civil suit because thanks to one of my wonderful friends and mods, she was able to get a hold of the actual legal document of the civil suit. The school epically dropped the ball. There's no doubt about that, right? But at the end of the day, the teachers that witnessed this specifically did report it appropriately throughout the chain of command. However, what happened is that once it got up the chain of command, that's where the ball got dropped. Now, I think can be a lot said about the fact that, how do I put this? There can be a lot said that even just the teachers are mandated reporters, right? So if they saw that the administration wasn't doing their job and what they were supposed to be doing, they should have called PD themselves, period. I agree. Once again, Elizabeth, I think Adam Lanza's mother probably, I don't know. I'm not super well versed on that, but who knows? At the end of the day, though, I'm glad that this precedent, they're at least trying, right? Let's see, Slinky Moon. Yes, but with this time alone, no guidance, no way you can tell me this kid. Oh, no. There's no way. Not trying to sound mean, but 11, it may. Who knows? Well, teachers are known super Karens. Why didn't one freak out like they do over Trump hats? I don't know. I don't know, babe. I don't know. I mean, coming from a hunting and fishing culture, I will say this. I can understand when, am I blowing y'all's ears out? Am I too loud? Please tell me. But I can understand why he wasn't sent home for just researching ammo, because that's not such a huge deal. Now, that was on the 29th, the day before the shooting. I can kind of understand just, oh, okay, I was looking up some ammo for whatever. But that drawing, y'all, and then he altered it to cover up what he had drawn. If that doesn't show the fact that he knew, and that's where I get hung up. I feel angry and super sad for this kid. Do not misunderstand me. I really do. Okay. But the fact that he altered that drawing before his parents saw it tells me that he had some consciousness that it wasn't right. On top of the fact that he wrote on the page, and I am paraphrasing, guys, so please know that basically the voices won't stop. Please help me. Once again, that to me tells me he knew. He knew, but he was struggling so hard. And guys, this is sad. Oh, of course, Slinky. I get it. To me, this kid needs to be in a mental facility. And don't get me wrong, I don't know. And these are the bare minimum of the facts. And these are only the facts against that we've heard that thus far. Now, this is a joint hearing for both Jennifer and James. And most of the testimony we've heard so far has been, again, don't get me wrong, some of it's been joint against both Jennifer and James, but the vast majority of the testimony thus far has been against Jennifer. So, but we clearly, they're both very neglectful. They're very selfish. Pardon me, I need a sip of water. They're very neglectful. They're very selfish. They were not picking up on big, major, not even a red flags as far back as what we've heard today is in March. But we're talking about red banners waving in the air. Giant banners being flown by the plane things that do that, right? And ignored it. They didn't care. Yeah, think about how unemotional his response was to be told all of his charges. Yeah. I don't think so either, Slinky Moon. I think this is just really, really, really sad. Elizabeth agreed. Usually that's kind of, now this is my opinion only, but from my understanding, it's usually the onset of schizophrenia or something related. And you're right. Usually that's in your early 20s. And yeah, I don't know. I hope that regardless, this kid gets help and not just thrown in a, 8-foot by 8-foot cell for the rest of his life to God only knows what. Well, if you're alone with the internet, what do you find? YouTube and ghost hunting? Yep. I hear you. I mean, I didn't come onto the YouTube scene even other than to watch an occasional how-to video. I didn't come onto the YouTube scene until COVID and lockdown. And then I saw a viral video and saw several creators covering it. And yeah, I agree, Elizabeth. I mean, I'm surely in no place to diagnose anybody by any stretch, but there's obviously a lot going on there, right? And there's no way in hell he should be the only one held responsible for this. This is just, it's sad, y'all. My heart breaks for this kid because he was screaming for help, like I said, all the way back in March. And like I said, a dear friend, Anamad, got the civil lawsuit filing for me and pouring through this stuff, guys. And it's like almost 40 pages. It's a big document. And some of the stuff that's coming out there, you want to talk about disturbing. It's sad. So what do y'all think as far as the school's involvement? Do y'all think that possibly the school should be part of this criminal or solely civil? What do y'all think? Because honestly, if the parents can be held accountable, criminally, why shouldn't the school be able to be when they're mandated reporters? Let's see. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I missed you, Elizabeth, at first. Yeah. Oh my goodness, girl. The civil document is really interesting, and I'm going through and breaking it down. It's just really cumbersome. Like I said, it's 36 pages of legalese, but a lot of the accusations that are being made, yeah, it's interesting. You think so, Slinky Moon? I don't see why not. I can't wrap my head around why not. Let's see, Elizabeth. I think the county state is going to get hit with a civil judgment for sure, but I also think someone in the admin may be held criminally also. Interesting. So I don't know how much, well, and I'm not going to go into the specifics of that. The civil suit does go into the specifics of who told who what within the school admin. Oh, I think we're back. Hold on. Hold on. Let me reshare. We can watch the little Crumbleys walk coming back in. Clattering their way. And y'all, like I said earlier, my daughter is going to be home any minute. So at that point, I'm going to mute out and I'm going to have to move from where I'm at currently. But hopefully we'll be back on the record and I'll still be listening in here, of course. But yeah, agreed, Elizabeth, because this is just the prosecution side. Granted, the defense gets to cross-examine and do all that fun stuff, but you know, this is not, they're not going to get to put on any evidence. Exactly, Elizabeth. It's kind, all this is, the purpose of this is to determine if there's enough evidence to carry them to trial. I've preemptively moved myself. So hopefully. Oh shoot. I don't think y'all could hear me very well. Can y'all hear me okay? Elizabeth. Amen, sis. Amen. Good deal. Thank you, Slinky. It's so funny. Since I got a big girl mic, it's like a whole big thing to try to move. Elizabeth, you mean as far as the parents? There's still one unit. They're represented by the same firm, but two different attorneys. It was really interesting this morning. And even in the arraignments and everything else, the prosecution kept saying that they needed to make sure that the Crumleys realized that there may be a conflict of interest because they're represented by the same firm. This morning, they're now being represented distinctly because before they were sticking together as a unit and both attorneys were kind of working for both parents. This morning, they made a very big distinction that, and I do not remember their names. I'm sorry. I suck. But each attorney would be representing one specific parent. As far as are they being tried as one? No, they are not. They are two separate docket numbers. And yes, they do have private attorneys.
We did contact the county and they are going to adjust the temperature remotely for us. So it should be okay. We do need to close those outer doors. There you go.
Just before we get here, the video is a little bit dark on the projection. We are going to turn off.
So now we're going to be in the dark in the evening. It's another facilities issue. I don't know if can we dim them? Yeah, we can. All right. And church hall. Did that just happen?
Yes. We just.
The light? Pardon? Yes. Are you talking about the light? Yeah, no, about the picture.
Oh, it was up there already. That's
Right, but that just happened where it was dim like that?
Yes.
That doesn't really help you much, does it?
As long as the court can see it, right?
Which exhibit is that?
This is 30. It's a 10-second clip. There's a 31 is a writer video, so only this 10-second clip.
Did it happen after you hooked back up?
No, this is just the way. It's just a dark video.
Okay. Go ahead and try it, and if it's an issue, then.
And we haven't get it to the court in the flash drive as well. Should the court want to view it another time?
I don't know if I can do it on this one.
On your laptop?
Yeah. You're really testing my electronics and technical expertise. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try it. If not, then.
So I can try now for publication.
Yeah, that's fine. I can see it.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, go ahead and proceed.
We're back on the record. Thank
We're
you.
back on the record, yes.
Okay, Detective, we were at Exhibit 30. Now, there were, on the text thread we're referring to, between Ethan Crumbley and the other juvenile, the 25,000 or so text thread, there were videos included that you viewed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Specifically, on August the 19th of 2021, did you view a video on that text message thread?
Yes, sir.
And that was a video sent from Ethan Crumbley to that other person?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's equals 30. People do move to admit 30.
Any objection?
No, Judge, no objection.
None from Mr. Crumbley, Your Honor, will be admitted.
Okay, if I could refer your attention, please, to the screen to make sure we're referring to the same exhibit. Now, sir, this was August 19th of 2021, and it appears to have a person holding a handgun. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, that noise that we heard at the end, what was that?
The person hit the slide lock release, so then the slide went forward.
That's exhibit 30. Did you also review a video in the same text thread, the same conversation shortly after that one was sent in the early morning hours of August the 20th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
This is People's 31. I believe we have a stipulation of People's 31.
That's correct, no objection.
No objection from Mr. Crumbley, will be admitted.
This is an 11-second clip. Again, this was sent from Ethan Crumbley to that other individual. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Now, sir, I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Your 25 years as a police officer, you've obviously handled firearms. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you've seen the ammunition for firearms.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you know how to properly load a handgun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me what's happening in this video.
He inserted the magazine into the magazine well, and you could see the top of one of the bullets.
Is that right here that I'm referring to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that mean there's a round in the chamber there?
As soon as that slide goes forward, there will be.
Okay. And prior to this point of the video, this is at the very beginning of the video. What is this object right here that appears to be vertical on the countertop?
That's a handgun magazine.
Okay. And what's in the handgun magazine?
Those are bullets.
Play that again so we can see it. That was 31. Sir, was there a text message conversation in the midst of these videos being sent?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is People's 32, and like People's 29, we made some changes to the redaction, so this will be a new copy for the court. The defense has this as well. Yeah, approach with it.
Yes.
This is People's proposed 32. And sir, once you take a look at it, could you please tell me if this is in the same text thread that we had emitted People's 29, which is the text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and that other juvenile?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. And what is the date and time of the first text message on that piece of paper there?
The first message is a video 8/19/2021 at 9:31 p.m.
Okay, and that's the video that we watched in People's 30?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People move to admit Exhibit 32.
Any objection?
No objection.
None from Mr. Crumbley, will be admitted.
Okay, thank you. Green is the owner, again, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, and it has a phone number where it's sent to, and you said this attachment, the video was sent August 19th, 2021 at 9:31 p.m.?
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have the same one. One moment, please.
Hey, Loco Love.
Okay. Okay, then we have a response to that video being sent. What is that response?
The response from the other juvenile is nice.
Okay, and there's spelled correctly or incorrectly?
No, there's a couple extra I's. N-I-I-I-C-E.
Okay. And then what was the message from Ethan Crumbley?
Ethan then says, "Shoot that Sunday?" ?
And that's August the 19th, 2021 at 9:34 p.m.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. The next text?
Ethan says, if you don't want to come to the range, to the gun range, that's fine. You can just tell me. No hard feelings.
Okay, and the response to that?
The other juvenile states, nah, I do, but it's just kind of hard for me to ask RN
What's RN mean?
right now.
Okay. And the response?
Okay,
And that was sent at August 19th, 2021 at 11:06 p.m.
correct.
Okay. Response? Next text, please.
From the other juvenile was
Yes.
sorry.
Okay. And then what did Ethan Crumbley write?
It's okay.
And the following text is an attachment, is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
And that attachment is a video?
Correct, yes, sir.
And am I correct? That's August the 20th, 2021 at 12:30 a.m.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and that's the video that we saw in Exhibit 31?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the other person's response?
Nice, again, misspelled with 3 I's.
Okay. And please continue reading.
The other juvenile then states, now pull the trigger, JK, 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 JK.
And then it doesn't appear to be any response in this text bubble from Ethan Crumbley to that person, is that right?
Correct.
All right, the next text, please.
My dad left it out, so I thought, quote, why not? LOL.
And what time do you write, my dad left it out, so I thought, why not?
It's at 12:32 a.m. on the morning of the 20th.
August the 20th. Okay. And there's no response here, correct?
Correct.
All right, and then what did Ethan Crumbley write?
He responds with, I cave, I know. Gun safety, so it's no problem.
Please continue.
Ethan then says, now it's time to shoot up the school.
And the final text in this export?
JK, 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 JK.
Okay, that was sent from Ethan Crumbley to this other individual August the 20th, 2021 at 12:34 a.m. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Now, you reviewed this entire text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and the individual. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
And we have talked about the number of text messages it printed out be over, I think you said 25,000 pages. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Was there a time when this text message history just abruptly stopped?
Yes, sir.
And when was that?
It was around October, around Halloween time, I believe is when it was.
Of 2021?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, sir, during the review of the data extraction on Ethan Crumbley's phone, what else did you observe? No.
There was text messages back and forth between the other juvenile and him of kidnapping and killing another classmate. There's also videos of killing and mutilating baby birds.
Okay. Anything else?
Not that I can recall.
Well, sir, are you able to look at his web history?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I don't want to name the website, but was there a particular, on his web searching history, were you able to identify a particular website that he visited quite often?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just to give us an idea, how many times did he visit that particular site in the month of November of 2021?
421 times.
And what were some of the sort of things that he was searching?
It was very graphic content. It dealt with other school shootings, particularly ones in Florida, and people being killed.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about, this was Ethan Crumbley's phone, Jennifer Crumbley's phone, James Crumbley's phone, et cetera. Were you able to determine who actually owned Ethan Crumbley's phone?
Yes, sir.
And who was that?
James Crumbley was the owner on all the accounts.
Okay. And he paid the bills?
Yes, sir.
Hey, one moment, Your Honor. Detective, during the course of your investigation, did you come to learn that there was more than one gun in the Crumbley home?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we've been referring to the 9mm SIG. That was the firearm used in the actual shooting, am I right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. What were the other firearms found in the Crumbley house?
There was a Caltech, I believe. I believe it was a 22 caliber, and then there was a small Derringer.
Okay. Now the videos that we saw on People's 30 and 31, What kind of gun is that, if you can tell?
That was the Caltech.
22 Caltech,
Yes, sir.
and that's also semi-automatic?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Just a moment. Your Honor, can I stay at the table and question from here?
Yes, just keep your voice up.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I want to go back to Exhibit 29. And really what I need to do is have you help me understand the reports. When you take stuff off of the Celebrate report, it's fair to say there's different ways you can extract the information. Is that correct?
Well, to be precise, take information off the data from the phone and then export reports from that data. Yes.
Okay, and when you testify that if messages are deleted, sometimes those will not come up in the report. Is that correct?
They won't come up in the extraction, the analyzation of the data. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, Your Honor, may I approach the witness with, okay, may I approach the witness with these materials? So I can
What
ask you.
materials are those?
These are the texts between Ethan and the other young man that we've been discussing on the
They're
record.
not, they're not. exhibits
They're
at
not-
this point.
They're not exhibits at this point. Okay,
We just need to make sure they're identified correctly, that's all.
okay, so
This is all one.
this is all, there's two separate files, but I'm gonna ask you about that. Okay, so Detective, I just handed you a very large stack of papers. And if you take a quick skim through it, it appears to be all of the messages between Ethan Crumbley and his friend, who we're not identifying on the record, name starts with B. Does that appear true to you?
That looks correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so at my office, when I get your Celebrate report, I pulled up all of these messages, printed them, and brought them into court today. And if every page is there, you would agree with me that that's from the Celebrate report. Is that a fair statement?
It came from, it's a Celebrate report. Yes, ma'am. I can tell you that because the logo's on there. It looks like it should. I don't know if you're asking, is it every message that they share back and forth?
Well, no, there'd be nowhere to verify that because there's so many thousands. I'm just asking, if I'm telling you that I printed those off Celebrate, does that look like what you would expect it to look like?
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay, so I want to turn your attention to Exhibit 29, which was admitted when the prosecution was questioning you. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
What do you have there?
I have Exhibit 29.
29?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, and Exhibit 29 contains a series of text messages that were from April 4th, 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and those messages specifically that were admitted in Exhibit 29, those messages did not print when I printed the messages. So I'm wondering if you can explain why the printouts I printed from Celebrate would be missing some of those messages.
Without having where you printed that from and be able to examine it myself, there's no way I can tell you that.
Okay, is it possible that those messages were deleted by the user of the phone?
No, if it was in the original data that was given to you, it doesn't matter if it was deleted, it would still show, it would still be there.
There is not, as far as you know, there is not a way to filter out dates if you print the entire thing as a whole, correct?
Printing the entire thing as a whole, from the first text to the last, that's what this is, then that's what should be there, yes.
And can you take a look at the text I printed from 4/5 of 21? And can you show me where the texts on Exhibit 29 fall into that, where they would be? They're in order of date.
I think I'm gonna have to object here because Detective Wagrowski has testified to the exhibits that we've admitted because he actually exported them using the Cellbrite software. This was just handed to him 5 minutes ago. I didn't print out 25,000 text messages because I'm not going to admit 25,000 text messages. There's just no way for this officer to know that that is in fact the entire text thread between Ethan Crumbley and that other person.
But she certainly can ask him about a particular date, and if it doesn't match up, it doesn't match up.
In what Ms. Smith has handed him, but we just don't know. See, we have an expert in cell phone forensics because it takes some skill to actually extract some of this ability. It takes some expertise, which he has. So we just don't know. It could, quite frankly, just be user error. We don't know if that is actually representative text thread, the entire text thread. There's no way to know from a paper printout.
And Your Honor, in all honesty, accuracy and getting things right is what's important in this case, making sure that it's accurate. I don't understand why all of the texts are missing, many texts that the prosecution is using. I'm trying to understand that, but to be quite frank, I asked this court to adjourn so that we can explore this issue and figure this out. This is a very big deal that we do not have these texts.
Just for clarification, are you asking them to identify whether or not the exhibit is the entire string of the text thread?
I can't have him because he didn't print that out. All I can say is I printed it out as the entire string.
That's what you're asking.
Does it, I can ask, does it appear to be the entire set of text
No,
messages?
No, so are you asking him to identify where Exhibit 29, page 1 falls in?
Yes,
Where those exhibits are?
yes, and they're in order by date, so
Or
that,
by date, so Detective, if you could go to April 5th.
Yeah, if I could just,
I mean, they're in chronological order.
there's one thing that I just stand, I don't know again, if these are the messages, the file path, the source info that this came from, that this right here is different than the source info here. They should be the same. I don't know why that is. But I'll look for the text messages where they should be in here.
Y'all, wasn't this over 1,000 pages? How would he know? Oh my God. And Loco, you better believe it. That's happening. That's happening, sis. I love you, babe.
I'm just look, it should be, this is the first one that I see for April 5th in this stack. And the next one, I'm sorry, Stan, let me just, I apologize. It shows April 5th there at 3:54 a.m. and then 3:17. So somewhere in between these two dates, these two messages right here.
So, I mean, just for clarification for my own purposes, when I'm looking at exhibit number 29 for the date of April 5th, I show 8 bubbles of conversation, both received and sent. Anywhere from 12:38 a.m. through 12:39 a.m. Are you able to identify those bubbles in the statement materials that you read?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, Your Honor, I know this court heard our motion to adjourn earlier today. Co-counsel and I have been dealing with thousands and thousands of pages. We are very clearly missing pages that are being admitted as evidence in this case. I asked the court to adjourn and give us an opportunity to look into this issue. This is a very big deal. If they're admitting a few pages and we don't have those in what's the entire printout, that's happened with a couple of sections of it. That's a big problem for the defense.
So if they're not missing anything, this detective took the same program, the same evidence that we have at the prosecutor's office, we turned over to defense. She just didn't find it in the evidence that's been given to her. And this detective can testify to that, what he did exactly to export this. He just testified that the file path is different, the source file. If you export, and I don't want to testify myself, that's why we have an expert.
Oh, that's why you have the expert, that's what you need to cross-examine for that, is how he obtained this information. So you certainly can cross-examine him on that at this point in time, about how he obtained the information that is now marked as exhibit number 29.
How did you go through to obtain the information that's on exhibit 29?
Within the whole chat thread, text thread, you would uncheck every message going back and forth and just check the ones you want, and then just export as a PDF.
So it's your testimony that you went from all of the text messages and I picked out the ones you wanted, checked those off and printed those out. Is that correct?
In separate reports, yes, ma'am.
Ruh-roh.
My office printed out all the messages and we printed them out correctly. Those messages should be in my complete stack.
If printed correctly, yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I am asking the court to adjourn. They are printed correctly and we are missing messages. And if this is user error or an issue, this is something that needs to be determined.
Guys, this could be trouble, in my opinion. I mean, are they trying to say that the prosecution didn't turn over everything or didn't turn it over properly? Am I understanding this correctly?
All rise. Court is in recess. Be seated.
All right, give me a second. Okay. Slinky Moon, it's not going to be a mistrial because there hasn't technically been a trial. This is a pretrial hearing, basically to establish whether or not there's enough evidence to go to trial. But y'all, I know, I agree, Slinky, and that might be, but you know what? At the end of the day, if it's over 1,000 pages to begin with, do you need a text message from Jennifer saying, "Can you pick up milk on your way home?" or whatever? Like, so to me, it's going to be a matter of they're going to have to go, in my opinion. I think they're going to have to, they're probably going to adjourn this and make them go back and print out absolutely every text so that it will line up. And they can't make those accusations. That's what I'm thinking at this stage. I don't know that for a fact, obviously. But that's what I'm thinking. What I'm hearing is, sorry, y'all, I didn't turn the volume down far enough. I'm keeping the stream up in the background because it doesn't go down with a little bit of volume, but it's distracting. Exactly. Exactly, Elizabeth. If it's and if it's relevant, at all. And now I'm sitting outside. I hope y'all are not hearing the dogs barking or whatever. I hope it's not too distracting if you can. This is interesting. I will say that from what I've seen so far out of this defense, and once again, I apologize that I spaced this morning, but I did watch. This defense comes off as kind of, how do I put this? In my opinion, very low key, kind of softball. They are not. These ladies are nobody to mess with. Thanks, Elizabeth. Enough. Those are my neighbor's dogs. My dog is being really calm and cool and laying down in the sun and wiggling around on his back. He's actually really stinking cute. Slinky Moon. Hold on, now my mouse is being stupid. Hold on. I'm just gonna use the one on my. Would you need all the info to establish timelines is the other question. Yeah, I don't know. And that's very possible. Who am I to question that? I think that's a good point, babe. I really do. Loco. My little old man, I say little. My old man, he's little in my world because I grew up with Great Danes. And my breed of choice is a Mastiff. But he's our little rescue mutt, and he's the sweetest boy ever. He doesn't get triggered. It's the only thing that will trigger him, and it's not even to bark, is our fireworks or thunderstorms. And then he goes and hides and cowers. It's really, really, really funny. Answer me. And yep, nope. And my sweet little Sam is just living his best life, totally ignoring him. The most that he pays any attention to him, if he gets really annoyed, he'll go pee on the fence. It's really funny. Loco, though, you're so funny. You're like, there's a treat for you. And you're like Oprah. There's a treat for you, and there's a treat for you, and there's a treat for you. And yeah, it's so funny. Elizabeth, I think Mastiffs in general are amazing. My first was an English Mastiff. He was a rescue. Amazing. And then I had a pair of Neapolitan Mastiffs after that are, my male was 215 pounds. My female was right at 190 pounds. And no joke, they literally saved my life. My father-in-law had a dog de Bordeaux, which is a French Mastiff. It's also Turner and Hutch. You remember that movie with Tom Hanks back in the day? Hooch. Turner and Hooch. Hooch was a dog de Bordeaux. And he also had bull mastiffs, and they were really great. And you're right, Elizabeth. They are so stinking cute. I can totally believe that, Loco. Seriously. It literally, every time you do it, I'm like, it's Oprah. A treat for you. A treat for you. Everybody gets a treat. Wait, who needs another treat? Yeah, they really are. They're amazing animals. The 10-month is only scratching my leg to be held. But I'm like, no, can't hold you in tight yet. I can imagine that would be hard. Yeah, Loco, they are gorgeous. My Neos were. Mastiffs in general are slobbery. Although I will say they exaggerated the drool in the movie. But we don't call it drool in the Mastiff world. We call it nectar. Hi, Christola. No, you didn't. The court is currently on a break. Wait, I believe. No, they're back. Shoot. Hold on. They're just back. Let me. Reshare. Hold on. Maybe I just need to leave it shared and. They're back. Okay, we didn't miss anything.
Back on the record on People versus Crumbley, the court said some discussions with counsel in the back. Due to the voluminous nature of the exhibits and the fact that we are not likely to finish with this witness today, we're going to go ahead and continue the exam on February 24th, starting at 8:30 a.m. If it's necessary for the court to add an additional day after the 24th, we'll revisit that issue on that date and time. However, I am indicating to all parties that I have cleared that day specifically for this case, so you will have the full day. As far as exhibits go, prosecutor, take all original exhibits with you. Everybody has their copies and or technology and everything else.
I just want to place on the record that when we were in chambers, defense counsel identified 2 witnesses we asked about. If one of those witnesses is not going to be called, we just ask that they give us notice so we can subpoena that witness to be here.
Sure.
Thank you. The prosecution said they'd get back to us, no problem, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I had to close out that audio. All right, there you have it. And that's what I thought was going to happen. They're going to go ahead and continue it. But which I figured that was what was going to happen. I mean, with what they were bringing up, and they're going to make them, if I had to guess, print out every single text message, even though, hey, honey, can you bring home some milk is not relevant, but it might be to a timeline. Who knows? Elizabeth, Neos have lots of drool. They're not too droopy as far as flu dog. Well, Neos are pretty dang droopy. Did I just hear the bus pull up? I think I did, but we'll see. Neos are pretty dang droopy. They've got a lot of extra skin. Think a 200-pound Shar-Pei. That's a different bus going the opposite direction. Okay, not my girl. Anyway, So, but they were amazing. And my only rule when I had my Mastiffs was that the only time that they would eat or drink was outside. And being that my ex and I were on opposite schedules, one of us was always home, so it wasn't a problem. Let's see. Anybody else have? I don't even know what that word is. Schadenfreude? Seeing those two miserable? Schadenfreude? I'm having a blonde moment, sister. I don't know what that means. So basically, Christella, yeah, they're going to continue it because of the way that they had printed out all of the text messages and stuff. Apparently the prosecution kind of chose what they felt like was relevant. And then the defense printed out their own copy and the copies weren't lining up and they felt like it was a big deal. Let's see. Yeah, girl. They do. It makes me want to throat punch somebody. And I do agree. Everybody does need the same exact paperwork. But at the end of the day, do we know for certain that this was not a printing error on the defense's part? Do we not know if I don't know. It's just a thought. Slinky Mom, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They have huge flaws. Okay, sorry. Gotcha. That's funny. Christella, I hope you feel better. It's a German word that means getting pleasure out of someone else's pain. Oh, yeah, I could kind of see that. At the end of the day, guys, after what we've seen in court today, my heart breaks for Ethan. And yes, he made choices and he made epically bad ones. But based off of what we saw in court, y'all, this kid was clearly epically neglected from as far back as March of last year, while he wasn't even in class, guys. He was doing Zoom class. He's isolated. He is having hallucinations. He is seeing things. And he's left at home. The level of neglect is astounding to me. The fact that this kid is sending his parents text messages, please, when are you coming home? I need help. There are demons in the house. The house is possessed. When are you coming home? And they don't even bother to respond. It's disgusting. Oh, cool. Thank you, Loco. But this is disgusting, y'all. And it really hurts my heart for this kid. Hold on. I feel bad for all of them. The parents for not being emotionally smart enough. You probably have a point, Slinky, and you're a hell of a lot more compassionate than I am because right now I'm just mad. I'm just mad and I'm going to get there. Bear with me, okay, darling, please. Colossal shad in fruit means indeed glad you're having a bad time. Oh, wow. Okay, don't watch. Okay, I will. I will, darling. Thank you. Love you. Here's the thing, and why Slinky's getting into my brain, and it's a good thing. Who knows what their childhood was like and whether they were just left to their own devices all the time. And they think that's the norm. It's kind of like perpetuating the abuse/neglect cycle. They just didn't know how to break it. I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding that compassion too, though. Please don't misunderstand me. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. And I'm wanting to say my second ever live stream was on this case. It was raw, it was new, and I went on a rant as nicely as possible, but this could have been prevented. And we now have 4 dead students. We have 7 other people that were injured and an entire community, if not worldwide, that are traumatized by it. And it is just sad. Because like I said, this kid showed epic problems for quite a while. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, Loco, you are the Broadway queen. I got to see Avenue Q live. Now, of course, it wasn't technically Broadway, but it was in New Orleans, but it was an amazing show. No, look at you. I married an epically Cajun French husband. Down here, we call them coonasses, and no, that is not a racial slur down here at all. Cajuns call themselves that proudly, loudly, all day long. It has nothing to do with race. But I remember when my husband and I first started dating. And keep in mind, I was born and raised here, but my parents are transplants. So I'm pretty much, I'm about 85% Irish, about 10% Scottish, and then I've got a little bit of whatever. But even though I was born and raised here, Cajun French, which is a dialect of French, but it's a totally and completely separate dialect, was basically a dying art and or a dying language. And then I started dating my husband, and he would look at me and he'd get so aggravated. He'd be like, "Oh, you're so tête de. Oh, you're so tête de." And I looked at him one day, and I finally looked at him and I was like, "Dude, do you come with like a translation dictionary? Because that ain't fair. I don't even know what you're telling me. It ain't cool. It ain't cool." So I don't know. It's funny, but I've started in like his grandmother, who we call Granny. Every time I saw Granny, I made a deal with her that every time I saw her, she would teach me a new phrase. And we've been married for a little over 10 years now. I can't speak a lot of it, but I can understand a lot more, if that makes any sense. But yeah. Let's see. I see that to a point, but your kid begging for you to come home isn't something I know. I agree. I had a grandma that was Cajun. Really? That's cool. Canadian French isn't the same either. No, it is not. I took Parisian French, like standard traditional French in high school. God, I need some water. I took that in high school and it's way different too. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, guys, that's where we stand with the Crumleys. I put a note on my calendar for what was February. I don't know. I can't get to my calendar right now, but I will, if I'm able to, I will be live and covering that as well. I love y'all. I thank you for being here and for the interaction. It was fun. I love y'all, and I'm going to call it. And I don't even have to worry about my girl at this point because she's still not home, which is kind of worrisome, but I got a text from the bus company that they're running late. It is what it is. But, oh, thank you, Loco. I love you. Have a great day, my guys. I love y'all. Peace, love, and light to everyone, because I know a lot of people out there are struggling. So do some self-love, take some time, self-care, and all the above. But until the next time, I'll see you later. All right, guys. Bye. Mwah.